Ferdinand says this team will never go all in. They'll remain just competitive enough to get to the postseason and hope that we as fans are suckers and buy in. Are suckers and buy in. I don't think you're suckers. I think Packers fans know kind of what's going on. I do. They know what they're trying to do. They're trying to keep the band together offensively, knowing it was one of the better offenses in all of football. And now you got to add defensively. It's as simple as that. The inspiring Chris says, I like the Badgers' draw. I think they played well in the Big Ten tournament, just came up short. I'm reinvigorated with Badger basketball. I hope to beat the hell out of North Carolina, that blue blood pompous ass Roy Williams. And I think the Packers are going to go all in. They realize the window is closing, and then the retirement of Drew Brees makes that more of a reality. Yeah, Drew Brees, I don't think it's – I was watching the Four Letter Network, which I shouldn't do because it aggravates the hell out of me, but the show Get Up with Mike Greenberg. Get Up, dramatic changes in the NFL. You'll see. It's like, shut up. You have become a caricature of yourself. Everybody knew Drew Brees was retiring. We all knew it. I know he said it happened here shortly and after talking with his family and wanted to spend time with his kids. I get all that. But we all knew that. We all knew that was it. You could just see by the way he played this past season. You could just see by the way he played. It wasn't there. So we knew he was walking away. But it doesn't change the face of the NFL. And then the whole, where does he belong in the Mount Rushmore of quarterbacks? Stop. That's when you've got nothing. Top 4 or 5 quarterbacks in the National Football League ever. Tom Brady, Johnny Unitas, Joe Montana. Go in that direction. And after that, everybody can argue who number 4 should be. That's it, period. But Drew Brees doesn't belong in that mix. I'm sorry. He just doesn't. He's a really, really good quarterback, but he doesn't. There's Favre, there's Rodgers. You could look at a guy like, Terry Bradshaw, 4 rings. If you want to go by rings. Some of the greatest quarterbacks ever. I mean, the greatest one ever never to win a Super Bowl was Dan Marino. Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning certainly should be in the discussion as far as one of the greatest to ever play the game. So don't Mount Rushmore of quarterbacks. It's like, shut up. Oh, my goodness. My goodness. Ronald says Badgers just can't hold the lead. Too hot and cold shooting and cannot close out games this year for whatever reason. Jimmy, you are more than welcome. I fixed the audio over on the live stream, so that's good too. Brewers avoid serious injury over the weekend. That was good news. They got to make a decision on Travis Shaw. I'm sure at some point here very, very soon in the coming hours, we will find out what's going on there. The Phoenix mailbag says, I like what's going on in Green Bay, keeping some of the better pieces there, cutting some of the dead wood and making the tree that much better. Cole says, Aaron Rodgers keeping his weapons around him and adding Devin Funchess. This should be fun to watch this upcoming season. I have to admit, they don't have to go out and get anybody. Other than maybe drafting a wide receiver, they don't have to go get anybody. Jason says for being 5'10", he was in the top 10, maybe 12. Yeah, you know what? For his stature, absolutely. It's not like you can't put Drew Brees in the conversation of maybe the top 10 ever. You could argue that. You could argue that. But as far as being one of the Mount Rushmore 4 best to ever play the game, no, stop it. You're coming up with a topic because you've got nothing else, or you're trying to do the choke and puke when you talk. Should he be made on the Mount Rushmore of quarterbacks? It's like, shut up. There you go. Aaron writes, cannot stand Greenberg either. He was great on Mike and Mike, and since then he has become an ego-driven maniac. Yeah, it's not a good show. I like some of the perspectives that I find. You know what? It's funny when about sports shows to listen to. I try to listen to a lot, whether I like the hosts or not. I try because you learn something. I try to learn something every day. It's some different perspective. Is there something that I'm missing? Is there something that I don't know? Because I don't even claim to even know a tenth of the knowledge of what you're supposed to. But you always try to find something out that you didn't know before. I mean, that's what you do. You gather information. This is from Ronald, who says Brewers are going to have some tough cuts this year. Shaw has an option. They will add to the 40-man roster. Andrew says, still hoping for the Packers to re-sign Corey Linsley, but it's not looking likely. Think any other offensive line on the roster, offensive lineman on the roster can handle like Corey. Well, Elkin Jenkins can play center and can be your mauler. So, yeah, they can move Elkin Jenkins inside. You got John Runyon, who played admirably in, a pinch this year. How much does he develop as well? I mean, they've been pretty good at finding some of these offensive linemen. Now you're probably going to have to fill in depth, and that's your biggest concern right now. Matt says, wait, Packers being green and gold, can they spend a little more green? Then I would consider them to be all in. They need a cornerback. They need a linebacker. They need defensive line help. It is all about the defense. Thoughts? Question mark. Matt, yes, I would agree with all that. It's all about the defense this offseason. It's all about the defense. Kat says, I like what the Packers are doing, but I still think they need to do more. When is Aaron Rodgers going to restructure his deal? I don't even know if they've gone to him to say they've restructured his deal. I know that was something that Brian Gutekunst kind of threw out there to say, hey, look, we have talked to Aaron Rodgers immediately after the season about the restructure of his deal. He didn't say what the outcome of that conversation was. He just said that was something that they were considering. Now, we'll wait and see if they actually, I still think they need to do it, obviously. I mean, that's not something you can just sit back on the laurels and say, okay, we're here. I don't think you can do that. But the Packers right now, the way things stand, after yesterday, with the signing of Aaron Jones and such, but after, we don't have yesterday's final numbers, but they were sitting about $2 million over the cap, and they needed to be down yesterday to cut within the cap. So I don't know what the numbers are as of today, but going into yesterday, they were about $2 million over the cap. And some other teams, like the Rams and such, the Rams, the Bears. By the way, the Bears appear, anyway, to be moving into the Marcus Mariota phase of their search for a quarterback. At least that's what the rumors are coming out of Chicago. So the Bears somewhat giving up hope on Russell Wilson, that Russell Wilson was going to try to seek a way to get out of Seattle. It doesn't look like it's going to. I've said it all along. I mean, when his people kept coming out saying, we don't want to leave, we don't want to leave, we don't want to leave, that usually is a good indicator they don't want to go. Not like Deshaun Watson, who wants completely out of the Houston Texans organization. But Russell Wilson wants to remain with Seattle. So he is going to, I still believe he is going to end up staying. I don't think he wants to go anywhere. I think he just wants more of a say as to what's going on and wants them. He just wants to be heard. Like every player, they just want to be heard. And that'll happen. They don't want to lose their quarterback. Unless they've got a great quarterback to trade for, you're not trading away a quarterback when you're still trying to remain relevant in a division in which you just won. So, no, I don't think Seattle's going to do that. So, therefore, the Bears, who were hoping to get in on the Russell Wilson sweepstakes, they're going to move on. Marcus Mariota seems to be the next target. Good luck with that. Let's do this. We'll step away. We'll take a quick break. And when we come back, I want to get back into the thoughts. Do you believe that the signing, the re-signing, if you will, of Aaron Jones, and Aaron Jones taking a little less money, obviously, to stay in Green Bay after realizing there's not that much money out there on the open market, staying in Green Bay, do you believe that this is the beginning of the Packers going all in? Stay tuned. Want your answer next on the Bill Michaels Show.
Ready? This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back. We are glad you are with us. Thanks so much for hanging out. Bill Michaels Show on the air. A lot of people chiming in as to the question, do you believe that this is the beginning of the Green Bay Packers with the signing of Aaron Jones, of this team then going, quote, all in? 877-867-1670. Again, 877-867-1670. If you want to hit us up, do so. Eric says, in my opinion, they are practicing the defense of all insanity. Do the same thing over and over again and expect a different result. In other words, if they sign a couple of vet free agents on defense to improve it, then they are all in. Until then, they are practicing the definition of insanity. So who got cut as Sunday's $2 million over? Now they go under. Wouldn't it have been cheaper to use the franchise tag? No, it wouldn't have, because the base salary, I think, is like under $1 million, but the signing bonus doesn't count against the cap. So that's the reason ultimately when they re-signed him, my understanding anyway. Now, I'm not a capologist by any stretch of the imagination, but in doing so, I think they saved themselves quite a bit of money. So much like many people thought that it would eventually come back in that regard, that being that Aaron Jones would end up coming back in that regard, that they would work out some kind of a deal. I didn't think so. I'll be honest. I didn't think they would do that. I didn't think they'd be able to keep Aaron Jones. I didn't think they'd be able to go in that direction. So good for them to be able to do so. That's really awesome. Tim says, hey, Bill, down here wintering in Fort Myers, Florida, before heading back up north, came across Skyline Chili down here at a strip mall. Mouth-watering chili dogs. Yes. Love the new format. Good to have you back. And yes, down in Fort Myers, the original family that opened up Skyline Chili lives, they have some in Orlando. They retired down there. They have some in Orlando, and they have some in Fort Myers, and some, I think, in Hilton Head, if I'm not mistaken, is where they also have Skyline Chilies, but good stuff. I'll tell you this, I follow Skyline on Instagram, and the post that they had, just made my mouth water as well. So, but glad to be back. Good stuff. Marshall says, love the new webcams. Yes, I've got a couple of different new webcams that are hooked up. So one is the Tiki Bar webcam, because I get all the time people say, when I talk about the different areas of the house, the Tiki Bar. So I just put one outside. It just shows the outside of the Tiki Bar. And then there's another one that is the webcam that you're currently seeing. And the Tiki Bar webcam is on display now. Then there's the new one that actually just shows myself from a different perspective. There's the one that's from up above, and then there's another one that's the dog cam. So we got 4 cameras working now. 4 cameras, and it's interesting because they don't all work in conjunction. Sometimes at the same time. Sometimes you have to kind of fiddle with it a little bit. So I don't know all the intricacies of all of this. I'm learning on the fly, but had a friend of mine come over this weekend and set up different cameras and run different wires. And so it looks more and more and more like a studio almost each and every day. So anyway, but thanks for noticing. Any bad feelings about Green Bay from Casey Hayward? If not, he's an option at corner. I'd said that a little bit earlier, that there was a few people that were talking that Casey Hayward, maybe, considering he's now in the open market, maybe he's a guy that comes back and fortifies the secondary. 877-867-1670, 877-867-7. Badger Dave's forward to the tournament. I hope the Badgers knock off Powder Blues. Never been a big Roy Williams fan, and let's be honest, their students don't even go to school. They get taught many different educational, quote, aspects without teachers, without having to do anything but play basketball. Wisconsin believes in education. I'm very proud of that, although I wish they would lower the standards for some players to be able to get in. We've argued this before, and here's the one thing. They will never lower the standards educationally to get into Wisconsin just because certain athletes can't get in. On one hand, as a sports person, I think it sucks. But as an educator and somebody who believes in education, I get it. I understand it. You never want to lower the standards. You always want to be considered a higher level of learning institution. But for certain curriculum, if you're going there to be a doctor, a lawyer, a higher end professional, we'll say, maybe that's what you require. But if you're going there for the just general social, courses, I don't necessarily think that you have to have the extra year of Spanish, we'll say. So, Kinger says Wisconsin's only chance of advancing in the tournament is if their opponents get acquit cases of COVID. I don't know. I thought they played pretty well in the Big Ten tournament. They showed some moxie. I agree with you about not being able to come back, that they get up to a big lead and we just watch it get whittled away. It's one of those NBA runs where everybody's going to get a run. It's how you respond to the run, and the Wisconsin Badgers have not responded real well to the runs. So hopefully when you get to the tournament and now you've got that new life, the slate is clean and you're living in do or die situations, maybe they begin to get it. Who knows? Who knows? 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Give us a shout. This one's, I hope Aaron restructures and shows he's all in to win a Super Bowl. This is coming from Eric. That he's all in it to win it. Obviously, he does want to win a Super Bowl, but there won't be a top-end free agent unless Aaron helps out here. There you go. And Ben wants to know if there's any options in re-signing Bobby Tonyan. Not yet, but I would expect Tonyan to be back. I'm expecting Tonyan to be back. 877-867-1670. Want to chime in? Feel free. Is this the going all in, the beginning of the going all in for the Green Bay Packers? We'll get some emails, get your reaction. Phone lines are wide open, by the way. Today it's a Monday. There's so much going on. You saw the Players' Championship culminate. You had NBA basketball over the weekend. You're now into the official tampering eligibility for the NFL and for free agent signings. You had some signing over the weekend for the Green Bay Packers. You got the Badgers in the NCAA tournament. Oh, my God, there's so much going on. Go ahead and give us a buzz. 877-867-1670. More of the Bill Michaels Show is next.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back. Glad to have you. The Bill Michaels Show. We continue on. 877-867-1670 on this day. Packers making their presence known and re-signing Aaron Jones. And Aaron Jones back with a team taking less money to remain. He got a lot less money when you talk about the signing bonus overall. We'll get into that discussion coming up a little bit later on. Pete Doherty, the Green Bay Press-Gazette, is going to be joining us here later in the program as well. Last hour of the show, as a matter of fact. Phone lines wide open. If you want to chime in, do it. Let's go to Dave listening to us in the Wisconsin Dells. Dave, welcome to the program, man. What's happening?
Well, Bill, he dropped off, brother. Sorry.
Did he really? Well, that's a damn shame. We were looking forward to talking to Dave. So much for Dave not joining the program.
Dave's not here, man.
Dave's not here. Dave's not here. How was your weekend, Ebo, by the way?
Oh, Bill, it was wonderful. I got some nice old fashions in me. I got a nice steak, and unfortunately lost the Badgers lose to friggin' Iowa. That was disappointing. Other than that, though, love the Aaron Jones news. So that was the cherry on the sundae.
Yeah, that was something that I think was a little bit unexpected, at least by my standards. I didn't think they'd bring him back, and I'll tell you this: I didn't think that he would sign for what he signed for. When you talk about the contracts that were out there, that
I thought he was gone.
I did too. So I thought he was out, and I guess from what I understand is he has a love interest. I've been told by numerous people. So he's got a girlfriend that is from the area that did not want to go. So when you talk about the total guarantee money, when we were talking Christian McCaffrey, Alvin Kamara, both upper 30s, the $50 million Zeke Elliott got, the $28 million Dalvin Cook got, Derrick Henry getting 25, Instead, he got a little like Joe Mixon money. Joe Mixon getting $10 million guaranteed, Aaron Jones getting a little bit more than that, but I thought he would end up getting more money than that.
Yeah, so did I. I love the deal, and I love the fact that we got the sombrero staying. Maybe with that guaranteed $13 million, get a new blinged out sombrero, the cool poncho. I love Aaron Jones. Yep. He makes the Packers offense go. Love it.
Absolutely. I completely agree with you. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. 4 years, $48 million, in case you're just waking up from wherever you were kind of spending some time. $13 million in signing bonus, according to his agent, Drew Rosenhaus, telling Adam Schefter. The Packers decided not to use the franchise tag on Aaron Jones before the deadline, and which they needed to do by last Tuesday, and just didn't happen. So Jones is coming back. He ends up getting more gauche, and not as much as he had hoped for. And Aaron Jones and Drew Rosenhaus feeling that there could have been some more money on the open market, but the market was not nearly what they thought it would be. And we thought that all along because of the salary cap going down. So he signs a deal in which he can get out of it. Most likely the Packers can get out of it in a couple of years and then kind of go from there. But at that point in time, he might be a bargain. So why would the Packers want to redo that deal? So now you just kind of wait and see. But the Packers get their man, if you will. Packers get their guy. Makes the A.J. Dillon pick a little bizarre, but I suppose they weren't expecting to keep him around. That's from our buddy Miles. Who, by the way, we saw Miles Wangren playing at not Sloppy Joe's, but Smoke on the Water. The bar Smoke on the Water on Friday night. Always good to talk and see our buddy Miles. But the A.J. Dillon pick is intriguing now because we saw what he could do. Now, does A.J. Dillon become the 2 in the 1-2 punch that is A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones rather than Aaron Jones and Jamal Williams? Or do they keep the three-headed monster together and just say, you know what, we're going to hedge our bets. We're going to try to keep it all together. See what happens there. Daniel listening to us from Toma. Daniel, what's going on, man? Oh, Daniel dropped off too. What the hell, man?
He literally just shut up. But
What
Bill,
the
he
hell?
said Aaron Jones. He said Aaron Jones is a team player. Isn't that what we want?
That's it. Well, Aaron Jones, we always knew wanted to stay. I just thought when he hired Drew Rosenhaus that he was just going to be busting out of Green Bay big time. That he was going to just be looking for all kinds of cash, and Drew Rosenhaus did nothing but want to get him out of Green Bay. And for him to sign, I think not only is it a good thing, but maybe it shows you that, yeah, he just wanted different representation for just different representation. Because otherwise, wouldn't you have signed now I haven't seen all the details to his deal, but the 5th round pick out of UTEP, just to say, because he also said, look, I'm just glad that I could keep playing where I started my career. He was just glad to be here. And he's only 26 years old. He's only one of 2 players in NFL history to post 3,000 plus yards rushing and 35 plus rushing touchdowns with an average of 5 plus yards per carry in their first 4 seasons. The only other guy to do it, Jim Brown. So he's got some historical numbers on his side. And for the amount of money that he was asking for, you thought for sure that he'd get it on the open market. It just wasn't to be had, which is good news for the Green Bay Packers. Mac says, I don't think that Aaron Jones signing here is huge, but I do like it. I'm still waiting for the other shoe to fall. Once they commit to a cornerback that is of upper level talent and money, then I'll believe that the Packers are all in. This is from our buddy Steve, who says, when is the Harley coming out and when will there be the ride for the Fisher House? My Harley will come out when the weather warms up. It's sitting on the showroom floor right now, but because they just haven't moved it, we haven't done anything else to it. But the Fisher House ride is always this Sunday. We're going to have more announcements on this coming this week. So stay tuned for that, because something really cool, as soon as we get all the T's crossed and the I's dotted, something really cool coming on the motorcycle ride. And we encourage you from all over the state of Wisconsin to get signed up early as possible, because there will be a block of hotel rooms available nearby the landing spot, which is Wisconsin Harley-Davidson in Oconomowoc. But the Fisher House ride is always the Sunday of Labor Day weekend. The Sunday of Labor Day weekend, which also culminates with the Milwaukee Rally, with the Harley dealers in Milwaukee and Harley-Davidson all getting involved in the rally in the area. So got a lot of good things coming. Although Steve says, good to sign Aaron Jones, but no defense, no Super Bowl. Reminds me of the Lynn Dickey era. I actually heard from Lynn Dickey today. Well, I didn't personally, but a friend of mine did. I was out getting that flat tire that I had blow out over the weekend. I was getting that taken care of. Our buddies at J&L Tire Service out in Johnson Creek, which, by the way, if you're a truck driver and you're on the open road, man, that's the great place to go. They do truck tires and trailers and everything. They do car tires and stuff there too, but they do so much. They're really, really good people. But Lynn Dickey wants to go walleye fishing, coming up for some walleye fishing. But he's been kind of hunkered down in the bunker, if you will, because he's been afraid of COVID. But now he's had his shots. He's ready to go. So 1 hour, that quick. 1 hour down. Got 3 more yet to go. Stay tuned. More of the Bill Michaels Show coming up next.
This is a Wisconsin Sports Zone update.
The Wisconsin Badgers are going dancing. The bracket for the NCAA tournament was revealed yesterday, and Coach Greg Gard's club will be the number 9 seed in the South region and face off against number 8 seed North Carolina on Friday in the first round. Here's more from guard Brad Davison on having to play the North Carolina Tar Heels.
Obviously, it's one of the best programs in college basketball forever. Obviously, very well coached with Coach Roy Williams. A lot of talent, really athletic, love to run up and down, good defensively. I know they're usually really good at offensive rebounding and, going and getting their misses. Love to play fast. So I know it's kind of the usual UNC protocol, how they operate. So, yeah, I haven't got to see a whole lot yet. But, again, I'm looking forward to it, watching somebody new.
To the NFL, Aaron Jones is staying in Green Bay. The Packers and their top running back have agreed on a 4-year, $48 million deal with a $13 million signing bonus. Aaron Jones' agent, Drew Rosenhaus, told ESPN that Jones would have made more money on the open market, but wanted to stay in Green Bay.
Rural Mutual Insurance, keeping Wisconsin strong.
When a company only does business in Wisconsin, that's Wisconsin Strong. Rural Mutual provides all lines of insurance, including commercial, farm, home, and auto. And your premiums stay right here to keep Wisconsin strong. Local agents, local underwriters, local claims adjusters.
Rural Mutual Insurance, keeping Wisconsin strong.
Yesterday saw the Milwaukee Brewers fall 5-4 in spring training action against the Seattle Mariners, and their right-handed starter Adrian Hauser would depart early from the game with a familiar ailment, right thumb discomfort. Thankfully, the Brewers and Hauser consider this injury minor, and Hauser said, quote, "I don't think I'll need to miss any time." Finally, the Bucks are back in action tonight to complete their back-to-back with the Washington Wizards, with tip-off tonight at 6 o'clock. For the Wisconsin Sports Zone Network, I'm Ebo.
Welcome back. Bill Michaels Show. We are on the air on this kind of cold and gloomy Monday, to be honest with you. Got a lot to talk about. Aaron Jones re-signing with the Green Bay Packers. Packers restructuring a few deals, sitting right now at the salary cap base. And in addition to that, you've got the Badgers taking on North Carolina in the NCAA tournament. You had the Players' Championship culminate this weekend. Bucks back in action. You got so much to talk about. Drew Brees announces his retirement. He was an MVP, 2-time NFL Offensive Player of the Year, 5-time Pro Bowler, 5-time All-Pro, I should say, 13 Pro Bowls. And he's calling it a career, which I don't think there's any shock there. We kind of all knew that was happening. Do you feel that the Green Bay Packers, in re-signing Aaron Jones, that's the beginning of the going all-in movement, if you will? We'll get into that discussion, emails and such to get to. If you want to chime in, 877-867-1670. Call us, 877-867-1670. This portion of the program is brought to you by our good friends over there at Quick Trip. And at Quick Trip, don't forget, you could win a trip to the 2022 NCAA Final Four. You buy any 20-ounce Coke product or any Kitchen Cravings fried chicken, which, by the way, if you haven't gotten any of that fried chicken, oh, my God, you're missing out if you like fried chicken. You buy it with your Quick Rewards card. You're automatically entered for a chance to win. But you buy both, and you get 10 extra bonus entries. No purchase necessary. See store for details. That's our friends from Quick Trip. Quick Trip, by the way, the official fuel and convenience store sponsor of the Bill Michaels Sports Talk Network. That's our friends over there at Quick Trip. So if you want to go to the 2022 NCAA Final Four, Quick Trip's got your ticket. Just got to stop in. A lot of people chiming in. By the way, Archie Miller out at Indiana after 4 seasons, 0 NCAA tournament appearances. They are burning ever since Bobby Knight, man. They, Davis and Tom Crean and Archie Miller, and they're just burning through people, man. Indianapolis The Indianapolis Star, first to report the news. Miller, 42, just completed his 4th season in Bloomington. The Hoosiers missed the NCAA tournament field on Selection Sunday for a 4th consecutive season under his watch. He was 67 and 58 during his tenure as the Hoosiers coach after being plucked from Dayton, where he led the Flyers to 4 NCAA tournament appearances and 2 regular season championships in the A-10. He was one of the most high-profile coaching hires of the 2017 offseason. And with his services in high demand, Indiana blew out Tom Crean and hired Miller in a matter of just weeks. And it has not panned out. So Miller out in it. What is wrong with Indiana? What is wrong with Indiana? Why can Indiana, a blue blood of college basketball? I mean, Indiana basketball there's a few things that the state of Indiana shuts down for. They shut down for the Indy 500, and they shut down for Hoosier basketball. To grow up and play basketball in Indiana is like almost a birthright. And then to head off to Indiana and play for IU is the ultimate childhood dream if you live within the confines of the state of Indiana. And they just cannot get over the hump. They just can't do it. Maybe it's do we have the curse of Bobby Knight? Is that what it is? That Bobby Knight just put a curse on Indiana when they canned him? What happened? They just can't get it done there. And they keep bringing in seemingly high-profile coaches on the rise. And they just find it hard to recruit. They can't get inroads in many different areas. Indiana basketball, which if you go by, when we talk about the Blue Bloods, you've got North Carolina, you've got Kansas, you've got Kentucky, Duke. Indiana should be there. They're just not. They just, when Bobby Knight was canned, that was it. That was the beginning of the end. That was the beginning of the end. Whether you loved him or hate him, Bobby Knight was Indiana basketball for so many years. And they have not been able to get it done. So Indiana changes coaches yet again, firing Archie Miller. Out. What else do we have here for Nathan? Did you bring up the other reason why Jones stayed? He's got a girlfriend in a smaller nearby city. We have talked about that, Nathan. Nathan, you were one of the people to let me know, and I had 2 or 3 other people that stated the exact same thing, that Aaron Jones having a love interest in Green Bay is one of the reasons he wanted to stay. Didn't Mike Davis take them to a title game against Georgia Tech? Yes. But they fired Mike Davis. They have not had consistency. Kinger says, is UCLA a blue blood in college basketball? You would have to consider them that, right? UCLA has fallen so far off, too, ever since they moved on after the run of championships they had. But, I mean, come on. That's been such a long time ago. You know? Such a long time ago. Since Dean Wooden, or since Coach Wooden. Not Dean Wooden, that was Dean Smith. Since Coach Wooden moved on, they have not been the same program. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Let's get back to it. Daniel is hanging on the line. Daniel, how you doing, man? What's up?
Hey, what's up? What is so bad about Jones wants to be a team player? Isn't that what we want here?
Yeah, absolutely.
Get a middle linebacker.
Absolutely, you want him to be a team player.
Back. I like that. Can we bring any free agents that we let go that they already cut, or are they just basically gone?
Like who? Who do you want to bring back?
The linebacker that came out of Cleveland. I don't know.
Christian Kirksey. Christian Kirksey, yeah.
I liked him.
He ended up getting displaced by the 2 guys, Chris Barnes and Kamal Martin. He got displaced by those guys by the end of the season.
Well, I always thought when he was in there, I thought our defense looked a lot better.
He was also a Mike Pettin guy. He was familiar with that system. There wasn't anything really overwhelmingly impressive about him. He was not great in coverage. And like I said, by the end of the season, he wasn't even starting anymore. The two younger guys were. So that kind of gave you an indication as to what they thought of his talent.
All right, but you guys keep on saying we still need a middle linebacker.
Well, you need middle. I say you need middle linebacking depth. Now, whether you go out and find a guy that's just a top-nose middle linebacker or you just find additional depth. Otherwise, right now, who are you going to bring out after those, after Kamal Martin and after Chris Barnes? Who you got? Oren Burks?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I'm just trying to figure, to me, even if it seemed like he improved it. I know he got hurt.
Right.
Was, or stuff like that. But is there anybody in the draft that could actually help us out?
Well, that's just it, as to whether or not they go in that direction, because I think you could probably still find yourself a middle linebacker in the draft. They're going to put it this way. Yes, they're going to draft probably a middle linebacker in the draft. I don't dispute that at all. As to whether or not they find themselves another guy in free agency, that's another thing.
What about I like the tight end.
Robert Tonyan?
Yeah, we need a good tight end.
I think Tonyan will be back.
You think he will come back?
Yeah, I believe he will come back. Yeah, I think he'll be back.
I think our team's always improved when we got a good tight end.
Yep, 100% agree. 100. I couldn't agree more with you. When they've got a good tight end, not only a tight end that moves the sticks, but also a tight end that can be a target when you get to the end zone. It just makes things that much. When you've got a good one or two good wideouts, you'll have Funchess back. You'll have Devontae Adams, obviously, and emerging Marquez Valdez-Scantling, whether or not you bring back a guy like Alan Lazard. Plus, you're going to have a good tight end in Tonyan. And now you still keep your weapon out of the backfield in Aaron Jones. I still think you're going to have one of the better offenses in football.
I agree with you. But, that's what everybody keeps on forgetting. When Reggie White, I can't remember his name, but remember when they brought Reggie White in, they also went out and got that tight end. He only played 1 year, but it's the year that we went to the Super Bowl, I believe. There was we picked him up. Jackson? Or was it
Keith Jackson? Keith Jackson.
Yeah, Keith Jackson. He only played 1 year, but when he came in there, it seemed like he improved that whole offense for that tight end.
Yep. When you've got a tight end between him and Chimura, Chimura was the guy that moved the sticks, and Jackson was another guy that had good hands inside the red zone. Yeah, you had a hell of a team.
And the best tight end I always thought that we also had Kaufman. I know there's a lot.
Paul Kaufman is still considered one of the best, if not the best, tight end in Packers history.
Right, and then until he got hurt, he was one of the best. I loved Paul Kaufman. He was one of my favorite players. One
of the guys that could have ended up being one of the greatest had he finally finished his career would have been our Jermichael Finley before he ended up with his neck injury. He was just starting to really get it. The other guy that was just a touchdown machine was Bubba Franks. Going back to the Mike Sherman era, Bubba Franks had a lot of TDs too.
That's what I'm saying, and it seems like a lot of people get to lost. We need a good tight end to balance off our receivers because they got to be scared of the short guy, and that's where. If you look at the times that we struggled, is because we didn't have a tight end to scare people. Even just someone that people make them think that, hey, they don't always have to go to a receiver. They got a tight end. And then Jones improved because when he came out of the backfield, that helps out a lot.
Right.
So we can get a good tight end with Jones, and then with the receivers we got, you're right. We have one of the best offense that everybody has to think about. Which way they're going to go? Yep,
I completely agree, man. Appreciate the phone call always, buddy.
Yeah,
talk to you. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Interesting. Jamal Williams right now over on the NFL Network. I'm watching him. I can't hear what he's saying. I've got the sound turned down, but Jamal Williams sporting a rather funky-looking cap. Some headgear on the NFL Network right now. Talking about his buddy and his pal. They both, came in at the same time. Aaron Jones getting that 4-year, $48 million contract with the Packers and $13 million in signing bonus. He's discussing. So hang in there. Let's do this. We'll step away. We'll take a quick break. Come back. Get some more of your thoughts. More of the Bill Michaels Show is next.
Sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Shot. Somebody's been abused. Somebody blew up.
Welcome back. How are we looking today? Enjoying your day today? Hopefully you are. The Bill Michaels Show. We are on many different levels, whether it's Twitch. Well, it's over the air, first and foremost, in our terrific affiliates, Madison, La Crosse, Eau Claire, Viroqua, Wausau, Marshfield, Rice Lake, Menominee, Shawano, Clintonville, all over the great state of Wisconsin and beyond the borders. But if you want to get a hold of the program from anywhere, 877-867-1670. 877-867-1670. You can hit us up over on Twitter at Bill_Michaels, You can watch us, follow us. If you want to watch the program on the live stream, the Bud Light live stream, you can find us on Facebook. Go to Facebook Live over there at The Bill Michaels Show. The Bill Michaels Show. You can follow me on YouTube. And I hope you subscribe. I hope you like it and like all the different things we try to bring to the table. And watch some of the video commercials during our breaks over on YouTube, simply youtube.com, and search Bill Michaels, Michaels. Same thing over on Twitch TV. And you can always email the program, thebillmichaels@gmail.com. That is thebillmichaels@gmail.com. I had to go with the word "the" in front, which I hate, but which many of you know, but because of somebody else had my name, so I had to do that. Somebody asked me about that the other day. Are you doing it because of like the Ohio State? Nah. Nah, just because we had to do something. So this was the best way to do it. So there you have it. Jamal Williams, by the way, so I went back and I started listening to the interview on the NFL Network, which just took place. And basically what he was saying was that he just is prepared to move on. He doesn't want to because he came into the league with Aaron Jones. But he just said, look, I understand the business and I'm ready to move on. So he pretty much indicated that he will not be back with the Green Bay Packers. I find that, I mean, he's not going to cost a lot of money. And certainly nowhere near what you just got Aaron Jones for. So I'm a little surprised that they're not going to make any kind of a run at him because I think, like I said, it's a really good three-headed monster, but he wants to carry the football too. So, and I think he proved himself this year. He's going to get paid. I just don't think he's going to get paid, what he thinks he's going to get paid. And who knows, maybe he still ends up back with the Green Bay Packers, much like Aaron Jones did. So we'll wait and see. Our buddy Steven Richfield said, you could have knocked me over with a feather yesterday when Aaron Jones re-signed. Never in my wildest dreams did I think it would work out with Drew Rosenhaus. I like what they're doing by keeping the gang together. They're only a piece or two away from getting back to a Super Bowl. In the draft, I see them going after one of these three. Collins, Nick Bolton, Greg Newsome. Newsome is an up and coming corner. He's impressed the Packers during their Zoom meetings. Shoring up the defense is definitely priority number one. Do you think that Casey Hayward, that his return is possible? A lot of talk about that. Since he was cut loose, he's got familiarity, but he's not familiar with the Joe Barry system. He played for not San Diego, but the LA Chargers. He didn't play for the LA Rams. So, I mean, he's still, familiar with the 3-4, and he's still familiar with that nickel and dime style of package. But I don't know. I mean, just because he has familiarity with Green Bay, certainly I'm sure the Packers, knowing him the way they do, would look over that fence. Maybe because he has the in, that he ends up taking a harder look here. We'll see. Since the change of pace back for Dillon, via Jamal Williams, Tanyan, Lewis, and Sternberger gave them looks, and DeGuara was a reach and a third regardless. We hope Love is a starter one day. Nobody was in love with him except for the Packers. I do understand depth. There are always options, and Goody takes poor ones. No, not always. Not always. Okay, I'm going to give him credit. I mean, he has made some good moves. And when you talk about the draft itself and what he has done, yes, the Jordan Love pick, and I've stated this time and again, the Jordan Love pick is going to forever be in the Green Bay Packers and in Brian Gutekunst's legacy. Jordan Love, not only did you pick him with the 26th overall, but you jumped up a couple of spaces to get him. You traded up to get him, thus giving away that fourth round draft choice. So, but A.J. Dillon, we can all say he looks good. To the eyeball test, he looks like what you want. Kamal Martin has looked good. John Runyon has looked good. Now we'll wait and see what happens with the rest, whether or not Josiah DeGuara ends up being that gadget guy that they were hoping for. Rashawn Gary has looked good. Darnell Savage Jr. looked good. Elkin Jenkins looked good. Kingsley Keke, the defensive tackle, good backup. Ty Summers, really solid special teams player coming out of that 2019 draft. Jair Alexander has looked good. Now, you've got Marquez Valdes-Scantling and Equanimeous St. Brown, fifth-round draft choices in 2018. They have started to emerge. Obviously, James Looney and Hunter Bradley and Kendall Donnerson and such have not, in that seventh round, have not really panned out. Cole Madison, nowhere to be found. Jamon Moore, no. Oren Burks has never materialized. Josh Jackson, J.K. Scott was the only other traditional starter out of that group because he was a punter, which jumping up to get a punter in the fifth round was somewhat head-scratching. So he's made some good moves. It just hasn't been the moves. You figure, you look at it this way, if he makes a move in the draft to pick a guy in a higher round, they've been pretty solid. So if this year you go to the draft and you look at what the Green Bay Packers can do, who they end up getting, now you wait and see. Is it that big defensive tackle out of Washington? Do they look at him? Do they look at say, Joe Tryon, the defensive end out of Washington? What about Terrence Marshall, the wide receiver out of LSU? That guy would be a hell of a fill. Who's the other guy that I like? The kid out of Missouri, Nick Bolton. Nick Bolton is a pretty solid player. He's an inside linebacker. So is Jamin Davis, the inside linebacker. Although I'm not big on inside linebackers coming out of Kentucky, but that's where he comes out of. I don't think they go with a running back. They don't go to grab a running back. The outside backer, Ojulari, the kid out of Georgia, would be solid. The defensive end, Jalen Phillips, the kid out of Miami, he'd be solid. But I think you're going to have to jump up to get some of these people. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. This one is, Steve Smith said he needs to prove himself, says Williams needs to prove himself. Yeah, he's proved himself. He doesn't have anything else to prove. He ran really well last year when he had his opportunity. Now, I can see you can say you need to prove yourself on an every down back basis, yes. But as far as proving yourself and being able to be a running back in the National Football League, I don't think you have to go in that direction. He's good. I still hope he does come back, though. I will agree with you. Scott, I agree with you, too. Harris says, I like the Badgers' draw. I don't think North Carolina is that good this season. Carolina started off slow this year and then came on towards the end of the season and started to play much better basketball. Then again, you know what? The Badgers didn't look great down the stretch and then looked better in the tournament. By the way, Shaquille Barrett agrees to a 4-year, $72 million contract, 36 of it guaranteed to remain with the Buccaneers. So the Buccaneers getting money back from the restructure contract of Tom Brady, and they have begun to spend it. They get their linebacker back. Shaquille Barrett agrees to that 4-year, $72 million contract with the Buccaneers. So that is breaking news. Ian Rappaport reporting that off the NFL Network. But North Carolina played better basketball down the stretch. I do not have the Badgers advancing. I like the Badgers. I like it. I like their draw, but I don't think the Badgers advance in this one, to be perfectly honest with you. Just my thought. I hope I'm proven wrong. We'll put it that way. But as far as having a lot of faith in that, no. This is from Kelly. Kelly writes, what do you see Missouri doing? I'm a Missouri grad, a broadcast grad. If you need some interns, let me know. Kelly, you're a grad. I do need interns, by the way. But I need interns that are not graduated that actually get in-school credit to work on the program. But thank you very much. And I've got Oklahoma beating Missouri, by the way. Missouri with the 9-8 matchup. I have Oklahoma advancing, but then they get beat by the Zags. Gonzaga knocks them off. Coming out of that same bracket area, Creighton getting the win over Santa Barbara. And Virginia, even with the positive COVID test, as long as they don't have to bow out, I got Virginia getting the win and then Creighton beating Virginia in a mild upset. Creighton getting the win in the 12-5 matchup, and then Virginia getting beat by Creighton. Virginia knocking off the Bobcats of Ohio. In Athens, Ohio. By the way, you talk about party schools. I know there's a lot of people that go to UW-Madison, take a lot of pride in partying. I would say coming up a second place vote would go for the Bobcats of Ohio. Back in the day, I used to run to Ohio there was a couple of friends of mine, these girls that I had graduated high school. No, I went to an all-boy high school, but they went to the all-girl high school next door that I knew coming out of grade school. And they ended up going to Ohio University. Oh, my goodness, they could party there. Holy moly. But they wouldn't give Madison a run for their money, but they would certainly be in the upper echelon of rankings for party schools. They can party big time. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. You want to chime in? Do it. Hit us up. Phone lines wide open. Sam says with Jones signing, which I love, by the way, Lindsley might move center after Joe Tunney You got to restructure with Zidane to clear some additional cap space, maybe hook a Corey Davis or a T.Y. Hilton, and we're good to go. You got Funchess coming back. You still got Marquez Valdes-Scantling. You still got Equanimeous St. Brown. You're going to do an extension with Devontae eventually. Hopefully you bring back Tunyon. Hopefully you bring back even Mercedes Lewis because he has such a relationship with Aaron Rodgers, specifically as a leader in the locker room. I hope all that happens, but I don't think they bring in a guy like T.Y. Hilton. Just an FYI. Not a popular opinion, but draft a tackle in the first round, Sam says. I don't think they're going to draft a tackle in the first round. I know it's not a popular opinion. I mean, they may. Who knows? But I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen. And plus, top tackles, most of your better offensive tackles are probably going to go higher. Christian Darrisaw, the kid out of Virginia Tech, somebody that could be there in the 20s maybe. Albeit, if he's there in the 20s, you would assume that Chicago may go in that direction because their offensive line has just sucked for quite some time. So, and he's probably the lowest ranked offensive lineman, unless you go with Vera Tucker. But he's a guard. He's not a tackle coming out of USC. Not a bunch of offensive linemen. Rashawn Slater, though, the kid out of Northwestern, but I think he might even be top 10. I think they had him last mock draft I saw. I think he was going maybe to the Chargers at 13, but he could still, they say he could end up going in the top 10. Who else? I think that might be it when you talk about offensive linemen in the first round of the draft. The kid out of Oregon. Sewell is his name, I think. He's a big I mean, he could go top 10. He's another guy. He could go top 10. So, but that I think is it. 877-867-1670. We'll step away. We'll take a break. Come back. A lot more. I'm excited about today. Today's a good Monday. It's kind of outside. It's getting cooler. We're expecting some mushy, nasty mashed potato snow, which I can't believe I'm saying that. So for the Tiki Bar cam that I set up over the weekend and had them run some wiring to, it sucks because I can't even take the cover off the Tiki Bar yet. The patio is still vacant. So once we get it up and running, we'll do so. The Traeger's out there. I can fire up the Traeger grill, but the Tiki Bar is still somewhat covered, albeit I'm fired up because my 5 o'clock somewhere neon sign showed up. So that'll be going out there to the Tiki Bar this year. I'm excited about that. Stay tuned. More of the Bill Michaels Show is next.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Bam-a-lam! Welcome back. Bill Michaels Show. We continue on. Glad you are with us. Broadcasting live at the Bud Light live stream to those of you that are watching us on YouTube, on Twitch, on Facebook, on Periscope, many of the different platforms. Thanks to everybody for paying attention to the program. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. You want to chime in? Do it. Do it. Want to hear from you. The top 50 free agents still out there. When you talk about defenders that are out there, there's, you got the Patrick Petersons, Richard Shermans of the world, now Casey Hayward that is out there. By the way, some of the top defenders that are listed, what is not listed is Kevin King. Boy, I tell you what, his stock has plummeted when he was highlighted just before halftime against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. When he got burned, that was pretty much it. That was pretty much it. He threw himself right out of the institution, so to speak. Let's go to Mike, listening to us in La Crosse in the mighty WKTY 96.7 FM and 580 AM. How you doing, Mike?
Hey, Bill, you got it indeed, right here on the banks of the beautiful Mississippi.
I love that place.
Hey, Big Unit. Glad to have you back on air, Big Unit.
Thank
you, man. So happy you're back. Hey, I've been kind of, I'll say, casually listening in the last couple of weeks, and so maybe I've missed it, but update us one more time. When do these contracts have to be completed by? And in particular, has anything been done on the restructure of Rodgers? I don't think it has, but curious about is that have to be done completed by Wednesday?
Yesterday.
I kind of heard. So,
They can still restructure. What teams had to do was be under or at the cap limit by yesterday at 3:00 Central Time.
Right.
So now they can do whatever they want. Once you're under that, now you can do whatever you want. Now today is actually yesterday at midnight was the beginning of the legal tampering phase. Now what they call it before you can sign free agents. So you're going to hear about all these agreements, but nobody actually signs anything until Wednesday. So this is when the flurry begins. So you're going to hear about all these different guys coming off the market. Shaquille Barrett coming off the market for Tampa Bay. Aaron Jones coming off the market for the Packers. But then you're going to get into the rest of the free agent signings that'll start to happen.
All right. Now I think I get it. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, good stuff. All right. Thanks.
All right, buddy. Talk to you soon. Thanks for taking a listen to us. The mighty out there, WKTY. In La Crosse, 96.7 FM, 580 AM, the home of one Dave Carney. I appear with Dave on his morning show program out there on Wednesday mornings, as a matter of fact. And this is from Kathy listening to us in Rice Lake, which it's WJMC, I believe, off the top of my head. 1240 on the AM dial says, are you coming back this year for the Rice Lake Celebrity Golf Classic? And is Larry the Cable Guy going to join you? I believe so, yes, that I'm going to be there. Put it this way, Kathy, if they're having it, I'm there. Our good buddy Tom Kozer invites me all the time, and they did not have it, unfortunately, last year. But if they have it, I'm there. And it presses up against it's the same weekend now as IndyCar. So I'm there on Wednesday. I'm there on Thursday. Thursday night, when everything's said and done, I jet out, and then off I go to Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin, where I am at the Osthoff, which actually, if you're an RV dealer, we're looking for an RV deal this year. So get in touch with us because we've got some dates we want to do. We want to do some stuff up at Road America this year, some travel dates for Travel Wisconsin, and then Sturgis this year for the motorcycle rally, Tomahawk this year for the 40th annual up in Tomahawk for the motorcycle ride. So we got some dates we want to do some things with. But then we're going to go from Rice Lake down to the IndyCar weekend at Road America and then kind of go from there. So looking forward to it. But yes, I plan on being there. As far as Larry the Cable Guy goes, I don't know. And speaking of that, I had this discussion over the weekend because I'm going to start doing the podcast again. The ones that I did in the evening, the happy hour podcast, and they're going to start coming up. I'll let you know when the dates are. But some of the guests we have lined up, we are going to do one from a brewery in downtown Milwaukee. We are going to do one, I believe, coming up with Bill Davidson, the famed Harley and Davidson. We're going to do one with Bill Davidson. And I think that might be taking place at the Harley Museum with one of the bike builders down at the Harley Museum. So that's going to be a specialty one. We're going to do one coming up here a week from tomorrow at Fisher House, Wisconsin. So I'm looking forward to that one to talk about veterans and veterans' families and such. So we got all these specialty ones coming up. If you've got something of interest that is just specific, let us know, or a good idea. And tell me, Michael's at and we're going to look into doing some of these at least twice a month, maybe 3 times a month, where we're going to do some of these specialty podcasts. And I hope they really are well received and interested because they're outside of the realm of sports. I've got some brothers that own these Italian restaurants that it's just this family that's had an unbelievable amount of success with Italian restaurants. We're going to get into that discussion. So we got a lot of cool things coming up. It's just a matter of putting this stuff all together, but I look forward to it. So I would love to do one when I get to Rice Lake and sit down for just maybe a half an hour with just myself and Larry the Cable Guy and talk about not only why he likes Wisconsin and his wife being from Wisconsin, but just his life and what it's been like specifically the last year with, comedians and bands and acts and such not traveling because of COVID. So, it is what it is. Love to get into that. Packer Buckaroo, Bill, you the man. No, Packer Buckaroo, you the man. Just saying. Eric says Jones signed just under the wire and had some leverage on his side since he was within the 24 hours or so from the tampering period to start. You are correct. Yeah, but the legal tampering period is when all the information begins to come out. The illegal tampering period, what happens is the agents get together and they get a sense as to what the market's going to bear. They talk to their clients and say, hey, this is what the average is. This is what teams are kind of thinking about paying. There's a lot of whisperings and things that go on behind the scenes. The quote legal tampering period is really just saying, okay, come out of the shadows. But everybody's doing it behind the shadows. Everybody knows what's going on. Dave says, could the Packers bring back the cornerback Tramon Williams, or is he too old? He's up there in years. He might be unofficially retired. He may get a look from some team, maybe as a veteran, to come back. I think he would make a tremendous defensive backs coach. I really do. He is so smart and just articulate when it comes to kind of breaking it down into 101, into communication. And he's a tremendous study. So I would love to see Tramon Williams come back with the team as an assistant coach. I really would. Really would. And Kevin says, what time does the legal tampering period start? It started. It's already going on. So you're going to hear more about that. Obviously more deals being announced. Just haven't been signed yet, coming up here and, throughout the day. I would assume throughout the next couple of days before you can start signing players on the 17th.
Bill, we had a caller over the break named Rich that wanted your opinion or a question about what happened to Simon Stefaniak and Jake Hansen, the late round draft picks from last year.
As far as I know, there's a milk carton, and they're probably on it at this point in time. Stefaniak, he is still with the team. Simon Stefaniak, he is considered on the depth chart second behind Elkin Jenkins as the right guard currently. So he is still there. Jake Hansen is the backup center they drafted in the sixth round as well. So he could possibly become your backup center on this team. You do have a few options when it comes, because John Runyon played extremely well when he had the opportunity. Elkin Jenkins, you would assume, is probably going to move into your center position. You can still bring back Lane Taylor, because you also have Lucas Patrick. Now, whether or not you bring back Veldheer, we'll have to wait and see. You have Josh Nyman is another one that can play guard and tackle. So there's some options there. But I know they're going to probably want to draft a little bit of additional depth. They bring back Billy Turner, but you still are going to need somebody to be a really good left tackle until you get David Bakhtiari back, which is going to be, the end of October, beginning of September, you would assume, if you're lucky. Does that answer the question, I think? Did I cover everything?
Yeah, I think he was just wondering what was going on with those couple guys and what their statuses were.
Awesome. Nelly chiming in. Introduce yourself to the network, man.
Well, we're
people know
a
you
lot
from,
of different
from Madison,
nicknames.
yes.
Yeah, I help co-host Over the Line with Ebo from 6 to 10 in Madison's, and wear a lot of different names. Nelson, Nelly, Rowdy.
Rowdy. What else? Because I called you many different things when I first met you. I didn't know what the hell. I didn't know if it was Rowdy or Rody, so I called you both.
Well, it probably depends on who you ask, Bill.
This is true. This is true. I mean,
some are better than others.
You're kind of the betting guy too. You're kind of the over under when you talk about the line. You're kind of the betting guy. Did you see what Big Ten game was it over the weekend that had, I think the point spread was at like 160 something or 150 something, and they took a 3-pointer away because it was after the buzzer, even though it didn't matter the outcome of the game, and it ended up people that had the over were winners until they took that away, and then the under won. Did you see that over the weekend?
Was that the Ohio State Illinois game?
Yes,
not exactly sure.
I believe it was. Yeah, either that or the Iowa game, going back a day. But regardless, it was whoever it was hit a 3 at the buzzer that gave Vegas the over, and everybody was getting ready to cash in. And then they said, "Wait a minute," and it took the officials that was like 5 minutes on a bucket that never determined the outcome of the game. But they went back and looked at it just to be clear. And it turns out it left his hand after the light lit. Therefore, the shot didn't count, and it gave Vegas the under, and therefore they ended up canceling it. So the people that had won the over then had to say, "Nah, baby, nah." The under won, and so it had a determination on what got paid out in Vegas.
I think it was Brent Musburger was the one that said some buckets are bigger than others.
Correct. Correct. You are 100% correct, as a matter of fact. No doubt. Hey, am I late for a break here? Are we still waiting for the top of the hour? Am I late for a break?
Yeah, we're a little bit late for a break.
We're a lot late for a break. So I got kind of lost myself. Let's do this. We're going to go ahead and take a quick break. We're going to come back. More of the Bill Michaels Show. Next.
Ready? This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
We're back. How are we looking? 877-867-1670. Matt says, do you think Patrick Peterson is going to be the fit for the Green Bay Packers? He is not the lockdown corner that he once was. The one thing that I would like to see if the Packers do bring in a veteran corner is somebody that has a higher tally of picks. This is a defense that needs to create more turnovers. And they've got guys, I mean, Jair Alexander, as good a cover guy as he is not a big pick machine. He's just a really good defender. So, you know, I mean, when you look at guys in the defensive backfield, you know, you don't have a lot of turnover machines. Raven Green was okay. He's on the open market. Most likely not going to be back with the Green Bay Packers. You would like to see them bringing back. Maybe they do. But he's hitting free agency. He'll probably get paid somewhere. So they don't have a lot of guys. They don't have a lot of, they don't have a cover linebacker that's really good when it comes to tight ends and such, and slot receivers that can create picks or tip balls and such. It wasn't a huge turnover-oriented defense, so they had to get it done by getting off the field on third down, and they weren't good at that. So if they go after a veteran corner, I'm not saying you have to get a lockdown guy, but get a guy that's got some good hands. We even saw Shannon Sullivan have one hitting right in the breadbasket in the NFC Championship game, and right through his hands it went. So I'm hoping that the Packers find somebody that has a better tally of picks, to be perfectly honest with you. Hey, a little bit of news and note. Craig Counsell today announcing regarding the Brewers that Lorenzo Cain will not play in a game until the weekend. Said he still wants to give him a little bit of time and wants to get him ready to make the opening day roster. So with that quad injury, the quad strain, they're hoping to get Lorenzo Cain back into a game shape, if you will. And then hopefully he plays by the weekend as we continually creep in. We're only a couple of weeks away from opening day now. So time passing slowly, but hopefully he gets in this weekend, gets a couple of games under his belt, and then he's ready to go come opening day. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Kinger says, I told my wife my favorite type of beer was free, and she said that I have a problem. There you go. Free because of drinking, or just free because of, you know? He says, Nelson bought a $1 beer that was a year old. I don't know if I'd do that. Although beer doesn't really go terribly bad as long as it's refrigerated. If you buy a beer that's old and has been sitting in warm temperatures, yeah, that's not a good beer. But if you buy beer that's been sitting in a big refrigeration unit somewhere and it's a year old, it's not terrible. I'd go in that direction for only $1. I might do that. Wouldn't mind doing that. But if you got a beer that's, say, been in the trunk of your car, and then it was in the fridge, and then you didn't have room in the fridge because you pulled it out because you had to put it in a big giant bowl of potato salad or something, so you set it on the floor, and then it sat there for a while, and you forgot about it. Maybe you got kicked into the corner next to the refrigerator and the wall, and then you finally found it, and then you put it back in the fridge, and then you said, okay, I'll sell this. No, that's some nasty swamp pea water right there. No, nobody needs that. Got a lot more of the Bill Michaels Show coming up right after this.
Is the Sports Zone Update.
Well, Wisconsin is headed to the NCAA tournament for the first time in the last 22 tournaments. Badgers are in the number 9 seed in the South region. Going to face number 8 seed North Carolina on Friday in West Lafayette at Mackey Arena. Though the season has not played out the way many thought it would for Wisconsin, guys like Brad Davison are appreciating the opportunity to play in March Madness after COVID-19 wiped out last year's tournament.
It's extremely special. You know, I know personally, and for a lot of the guys in that locker room, this is what, when you're growing up and you're dreaming of playing on the college stage, you're dreaming of playing in March and playing in March Madness and dreaming of, you know, that one shiny moment video and everything that comes with playing in the NCAA tournament. And so, you know, not having that opportunity last year has made this opportunity so much more special.
Tip on Friday night is set for 6:10. Turning the Bucks, they're going to be back in action tonight as they take on the Wizards in Washington. Milwaukee took the first game between the two on Saturday. After this, going to head to Philly to face a Sixer squad that currently owns the best record in the Eastern Conference. Tip tonight is at 6 o'clock.
Hey, honey, how was your day? Well, I brought home a delicious dinner and possibly $10K. That's $10,000. That's a good day. It's Quick Trip's take-home meal sweepstakes. Try our chicken, bacon, mac and cheese, spicy chicken penny, spaghetti, and more. Buy with your rewards card, and you could win $10,000. No purchase necessary. See stores for details. Dinner, fresh from our kitchen to heat and eat in yours. But let's be honest, they had me at $10K. The take-home meal sweepstakes from Quick Trip. We got dinner covered.
Well, Aaron Jones is sticking with the Packers. The team has reportedly agreed to a 4-year, $48 million deal with the running back to keep him in Green Bay. Packers have also restructured the contracts of Preston Smith and Adrian Amos in advance of the new league year on Wednesday. They'll need to make a few more moves to get under the salary cap before that. And the Brewers back in action this afternoon as they take on the Padres out at spring training. With this Wisconsin Sports Zone Network update, I'm Zach Heil.
Thanks for hanging out with us. We certainly appreciate it. And for watching us, if you can go to YouTube, go to Twitch, please subscribe. We really, really appreciate it. The former Packers running back Jamal Williams, as we had talked a little while ago, he was just on the NFL Network, understanding he will not be back with the team despite his happiness for Aaron Jones re-signing with the Packers. He understands it's not going to happen for him. He acknowledges he's likely going to be leaving for free agency. He said, quote, "It's just sad that I won't be able to play together again," meaning him and Aaron Jones and such. Confirmed that a lot of teams are interested in signing him. The legal tampering period opened today, and players can officially sign new deals come Wednesday. So it looks like he's probably going to be on the road out. He's got a lot of happiness for his brother, he says. "I know good things happen to good people. My bro, Aaron, is just a good person. He does great things. He deserves everything that came his way, and getting signed, just proud of him as a brother." That is according to Jamal Williams. Good stuff. But it's sad. I remember sitting when they were prospective, incomers before the draft had even happened, and we're sitting on Radio Row at Super Bowl, and their agent was Lee Steinberg. And I've told this story time and again, so I apologize if I bore you with it, but Lee was walking around with these two guys and said that, hey, wink and a nod, you may want to talk to these guys. And okay, sure, you don't usually do a lot with rookies, so to speak, but I'd be happy to talk to them. So we did, and then sure enough, we get a chance to talk to both Aaron Jones and Jamal Williams. Aaron Jones, by the way, had his parents and such with him. His whole family was there, and they were both great to talk to. And who knew Jay Swaggy was going to be such a personality? When we met him that day, it was very structured, very taught how to speak, the way to speak, the cliche things to say. So it was really interesting. So to see both of these guys with personalities emerge as running backs for the Green Bay Packers was such a pleasure. Just such good guys to get to know. So much fun. And, maybe he ends up as the 2 and a 1-2 punch, say, with Dallas. a place that Mike McCarthy knows him. Maybe not. I don't know if I'm a running back and I want to go to Dallas because you're not going to get used. Maybe he wants to go someplace and try to be the premier back. We'll wait and see, but we'll figure it out. He'll figure it out, I should say, as time goes on. Let's go to Tori listening to us from Columbus. Tori, how you doing today, man? What's up?
Oh, pretty good. How you doing, Bill?
Doing well, buddy. What's on your mind?
I just want to say I'm very surprised the Packers signed Aaron Jones. If this was Ted Thompson, this would be his dream scenario of free agency. There's so many free agents cut by teams. He would sign the minimal people, let Aaron Jones go. So Brian Gutekunst, very good. I didn't think we would do it. We did it. So going into the Packers, they have a top 5 receiver, top 5 offensive line, top 5 tight end, top 5 running back. This is, I think, the season make or break for Aaron Rodgers, and I'm really waiting on his contract. If he's going to renegotiate it and give us cap space, kind of like Tom Brady did. If you look at Aaron Rodgers throughout his years, he was top 5 or top 1 quarterback paid throughout his years. I kind of want to know what's the psyche with Aaron Rodgers. Does he want to win? Does he want money? Does he want to be a top paid quarterback? I think that's what's going to come down by Wednesday. And if he don't make a significant move, then everything's on Aaron Rodgers this year. Not defense, not nothing. It's on you, Aaron.
Well, here's the thing. They can take part of his base salary and make it a signing bonus. So the Packers can do that without him okaying it. So that would be on the Packers. Now, what they do beyond that, we would have to wait and see. But they can. This
is on Aaron.
Yeah.
This is on Aaron to do something. The Packers can do what they want to do. But if Aaron wants to be a 2-time Super Bowl winning quarterback, put your name above Brett Favre, you have to do something for the team. I know the Packers can do whatever they're, the business, but what is Aaron going to do?
Right.
Maybe, he found new love. He wants to be a dad. Maybe he'll, things will come around, but that chip on your shoulder, Aaron, please put it towards the field and win Super Bowls. Tom's going for your 8th, and you're looking for your 2nd.
Yeah. Yep. No, I completely understand where you're coming from. And we're waiting to find out because they're going to need additional room. And there's only a couple of ways to get it. And restructuring Aaron Rodgers' contract is going to give you the most. So if indeed that's the plan, is to bring in additional talent to help him, then yeah, he has to come forward and say, I want to restructure my deal. I want to extend. And he's going to ask for the extension. Now, the Packers then have to say, okay, yes or no, because we all know what's waiting in the wings, and that's Jordan Love. So that's where the toughness of the situation comes, because if they want to extend him out, that pretty much eliminates the Jordan Love era. You know what I mean? 877-867-1670. Thank you so much for the phone call. But is that the consensus? Because to right now with Aaron Rodgers in the contract, okay, they can take some of his money and actually turn it into signing bonus, which then does not count against the cap. All right? So they don't have to have his permission to do it. But is it bad form right now? Is it bad form right now to say, not come out and say, I want to restructure my deal, knowing that $37.5 million is the cap hit going into this season? You know what I mean? You could take more money and turn it, say, into signing bonus. You can take $15 million of the base salary and turn it into signing bonus and gain back some money, so to speak. So that's the biggest cap reliever that they have to be able to kind of utilize right now. Because Aaron Rodgers next year counts $39.8 million against the cap. And what they're trying to do is trying not to extend that money out. Next year's base salary, by the way, $25 million. So it goes up $10 million next year, and the same in 2023. So what they're trying not to do is extend out any of that additional money. But I don't really see any other way around it, to be honest with you, right? I mean, do you? 877-867-1670. Is it bad form right now? At least according to what I'm seeing on Twitter and what I'm seeing on the live stream feeds. Is it bad form not to come out and say, I want to restructure my deal to give my team cap flexibility, to extend my contract, to be able to help bring in additional talent? 877-867-1670. 877-867-1670. I think it's a legitimate question, at least when you talk about perception becoming reality in so many people's minds. Is it bad form right now, if you're Aaron Rodgers, not to have something publicly say, I want to restructure my deal? I want to give cap relief to this team. Most players like Brady or whomever, Patrick Mahomes, who did it as well, they either do it after the fact or the team does it, and then they say, hey, it was a pleasure to be able to restructure my deal so, we could have additional funding for guys and players and, because there's no I in team and all that kind of cliche stuff. They didn't do it. Tom Brady didn't come out and said, hey, between you and me, I don't want a salary. I don't want a raise. I'm going to go ahead and tell the team they have to restructure my deal. Usually you try not to do that, to try not to put pressure on the organization to make the organization look bad. But I think as time goes on and deals need to be restructured and more money needs to be garnered, yeah, you kind of sit there and go, what are you doing? You scratch your head and say, what are you doing? Like I said, we're going to talk with Pete Doherty coming up in about an hour and 20 minutes from right now about exactly that. What's next? What's the next shoe to drop? We'll talk about all of that. Eric says, in my opinion, after Brady and Mahomes did what they did, it looks really bad for Aaron Rodgers. Rick says the fact that they haven't turned his salary into bonus, doesn't that suggest they may be in negotiations with him? Rick, they're either in negotiations or they don't want to do it, because that means you're going to spread out some additional money, and maybe they don't want to do that. Some additional breaking news. Not only is Davis out in Indiana, but Richard Pitino looks to be out in Minnesota. Such promise there for the Golden Gophers for a while, and now, nah, baby, nah. Not happening. Kinger says, why would Aaron Rodgers restructure his deal when the big brass don't listen to him as to who he wants anyway? And Jim says, going back a few days, Aaron has made himself part of the problem. Some disdain coming down for the quarterback and the leader of your Green Bay Packers. Scott says, once again, if Aaron doesn't have any reassurances by the team, then why in the world should he restructure the deal? Matt says, I would not restructure anything. What have the Green Bay Packers done to prove themselves to Aaron Rodgers? Aaron says he wants to win, asks for specific players. They don't listen to him. They've been giving him square pegs to fit into a round hole for so long, you're pretty much beaten. Aaron Rodgers has been a great quarterback for this organization, and the organization has done basically nothing for him in the long run other than give him money. Aaron Rodgers' job is basically to go out and win games, but he can't do it all by himself all the time. How remarkable would this record be had they actually picked up a few defensive players to help this team in the long run? 877-867-1670. What are your thoughts? Dana says Aaron Rodgers, bad form right now when other teams are restructuring deals, for him not to be speaking out and putting the Packers brass in their corner to say, restructure my deal or let me go so I can get players around me. That would get Gutekunst off of his dead ass to get him to start spending money. And that's from Dana. Dana, appreciate it. Brew fan Mike says, why restructure when they're not going to do anything with the money anyway? Maybe they'll add an additional run to the sledding hill or put an additional field in out back so fans can come and kick field goals and act like they give a damn and spend more money at the pro shop. The money should be spent on the field, not on other ancillary things. Well, I'm an opponent of the They have to stay viable, because remember, they don't have an owner. You're the owner. They don't have tens and hundreds of millions of dollars in their pockets to be able to say, hey, we need to go do this, or we need to build that, or we need to remain viable here. They don't have that. Chris says blaming A-Rod for not wanting to renegotiate his contract isn't a bad look in him. So let's do this. We'll step away, take a quick break. We'll come back. A lot more to get to. And don't forget, coming up in about an hour and 15 minutes, we'll talk with Pete Doherty of the Green Bay Press-Gazette as well about the salary situation for the Green Bay Packers and who he thinks might be next. Stay tuned. More of the Bill Michaels Show is next.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
From the kennel to the coop, Fleet Farm has everything you need to keep your animals happy and healthy. Whether you're training your pup to sit, mastering those retrieval skills, flipping your horse for competition, keeping the backyard birds well fed, or loving your pets like family. There's a reason people say, if Fleet Farm doesn't have it, I don't need it, because we have it all. Fleet Farm, proudly serving the Midwest since 1955.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute.
How we looking? Bill Michaels Show. I'm Bill Michaels. This portion of the program brought to you by our good friends at Quick Trip, the official fuel and convenience store provider of the Bill Michaels Sports Talk Network. We are live as well over on the Bud Light live stream. If you want to see us over there, you can. Appreciate it as always. We go to the dog cam and tiki cam and live cam, web cam, all that kind of crazy stuff during the commercial breaks. So for those that enjoy the dog cam, Elmo a little bit of sleeping today. More alert today than he has been in recent past. Normally you can hear the thump as his head hits the floor and he just goes out. Mark says, who do you have, Florida or Ohio State? I've got Florida over Virginia Tech and Ohio State over Oral Roberts. I have got Ohio State beating Florida. As a matter of fact, I got Ohio State all the way down to the Final Four. I got them knocking off Baylor. Gino says, how many Big Ten teams do you have advancing? Well, that's a good question. I got Purdue advancing. I've got Ohio State, Illinois, Rutgers getting a win, but getting knocked off by Houston. My Final Four is Ohio State, Illinois, and Michigan. So I've got Maryland getting an opening win over Connecticut in a minor upset, but then getting beat by Alabama. Who else? Michigan, obviously, as I had mentioned. Iowa advancing to the Sweet 16. I actually have Iowa going to the Elite Eight. I'm hoping Iowa knocks off Kansas. And then I think that's it. I don't have the Badgers beating North Carolina. I have North Carolina winning a game and then getting beat right after that. But I don't have the Badgers advancing, if that's what you're asking me. Not a lot of hope there. As much as I hope so that they do, I mean, I wish they would, but not a lot of hope there. North Carolina getting beat by Baylor. So, and look at it this way. Let's just say the Badgers do get a win, okay? The national championship game for the Badgers comes right after that. Because we know Baylor is going to beat Hartford, right? The mighty University of Hartford. The Badgers, you would assume, if they beat North Carolina, I mean, then they take on the mighty Baylor Bears. That's their Super Bowl, so to speak. Because if they knock off a 1 seed or play well against a 1 seed, at least then you've got that feather in your cap. But I just I don't see that happening, and I don't see them getting past North. I mean, they could beat Carolina. I mean, Carolina has played better down the stretch, but certainly has not had the season that was expected. And the Badgers, they were a 12 seed back in like 2009 or something, like 2010 or something. So this has been the lowest they've been seeded in quite some time. But Wisconsin, I don't have them getting past Carolina. I just don't. I mean, again, this is because I'm putting money on it. In my heart, I hope they do, but my head, because this is money, okay? We're talking money here. So I just think Baylor is ripe for the pickings. I think Ohio State played really well down the stretch. I think Gonzaga is just almost a damn near unbeatable team, and they run the table unbeaten for the season. I know it's tough to do, but unbeaten for the season. The likelihood of that, nil, but unbeaten for the season. Illinois, they're just a really good basketball team. I think Oklahoma State would give them a run for their money. I think maybe Houston could give them a run for their money, but that's about it coming out of that Midwest bracket. So Illinois, I think, has probably one of the easier paths to the Final Four. Michigan's got to get past a pesky LSU team, who we just saw over the weekend. Georgetown's starting to play good basketball at the right time. BYU, I think, is okay. I think they get knocked out by Texas. Texas is good, but I still don't see Texas going to the Final Four. And as much as I would love to see, I think Maryland gets the win over UConn. And as much as I want to see Maryland get the win in advance out of the name of the Big Ten, Alabama, who I hate, I've never been a big fan of Alabama's basketball program, but they're playing really, really good basketball. I don't see anybody beating them until they face Michigan in the Elite Eight to get to the Final Four. And then I think it probably is more of a flip of a coin between Iowa and Kansas. Iowa's a more physical basketball team. Kansas, while they're good, I don't think they're great. I think Iowa can beat them. So I got the Zags and Iowa, the Hawkeyes, Michigan and Alabama, Baylor and Ohio State, Illinois and Houston. In my Elite Eight, Ohio State and Illinois, Zags and Michigan in the Final Four, and Gonzaga meeting Ohio State in the finals. And then the Gonzaga Zags winning. So that's the way it checks out. There you go. 877-867-1670. B-Rad says better do something because there isn't a cupcake schedule this year. And playing 7 playoff teams this season. Last season, 4 teams with winning records won, 2 lost, and 2 teams that ended with a winning record was the 2 same, basically as the year before. 13-3 will be monumental this season, and if they end up 13-3, should be no excuses. I will believe it when I see it. All teams have to adjust, and a lot are. Rodgers needs to stand up. Step up. Well, every year, though, you can play a team that has a winning record from the year prior, and if they start out and play terribly and they don't have a winning record, well, then everybody says, well, you played a cupcake schedule. But at the time, they're a good team. You know? So, I mean, you can only play the teams that are on your schedule, and that's all you can do and go win. I agree with you that you don't have this, quote, cupcake schedule. But, how many people expected Buffalo and Miami to be battling for the top spot in the division? And it wasn't because of Tua, I'll tell you that. People still thought New England would be good, but New England faltered. People thought Cincinnati would be better and Cleveland wouldn't be, and Cleveland turned out to be the better team. Tennessee, Indianapolis, we kind of knew where they would be. There were some expectations going into the season for Houston until Houston fell flat on their face. Jacksonville just hasn't been good in quite some time. There's always been speculation about whether or not the Raiders would be good, the Chargers would be good, the Broncos we knew would not be good. I mean, there's some teams you can and then when you look, everybody thought Dallas would be better. So if Dallas was on your schedule, you figure Dallas would be a team with a winning record, and they weren't. So every year when the schedule comes out, you're like, oh my goodness. But it doesn't compute because you got to wait and see what actually pans out. You know what I mean? So I understand the teams from this year had winning records, and you're looking for teams on that Packers schedule to be really tough opponents, but let's just wait and see how the season kind of plays out. 877-867-1670. Our buddy Pete from River Falls on the line. Pete, how you doing today, man? What's up?
Pretty good. I would like at least Rodgers to maybe indicate that he'd be willing to listen to restructuring terms because his teammates are doing it, and they're doing it to help him and the team, and you'd think he'd want to kind of reciprocate for the sake of his teammates.
Oh, I'm sure he probably would. I don't think that Aaron Rodgers is sitting at home going, no, I don't want to restructure at all. You know what I mean? Right. Yeah. My assumption is he would. I think I think it takes 2 to tango. I think that both sides right now are kind of seeing what the market is for some of the guys that are out there, so they know how much money they're going to need. I mean, let's be honest. They still need to do something because they need about $9 million just to bring in the rookies.
Yes.
So they're going to need to restructure some deals. Or maybe make a couple of cuts, but there's no doubt about that they need to restructure a few deals. So I would assume that'll happen probably after June 1st as well. They'll restructure some of these deals or cut a few players for the June 1st cuts, which will give them additional salary cap space. Okay? Appreciate it, man. He drops off. You get on board 877-867-1600 or 1670, 1670. So the Packers play at home this year. The Rams, a solid team. I think they're vying for the top spot in the West. Steelers, I don't know how good the Steelers are going to be. I don't know what the Lions are going to be. I mean, Lions are in a rebuild right now. The Vikings, will they be better? Seahawks, certainly a tough team. Washington played well, but Washington, they're searching for a quarterback. And will the Browns be good again? I don't know. But Washington's still searching for a quarterback. So you got the Bears, who have not been good, the Lions, who have not been good, the Vikings have been pretty good, the Browns, who were really good this past season, along with the Steelers. Seahawks are good. Rams are good. And then Washington, who knows? Road, the Lions. Ravens are always a good team. Bengals, who knows? Joe Burrow comes back. Remember, Joe Burrow started playing extremely well in the beginning of the season. Problem was he didn't have a defense. If they bolster that defense, that's a pretty good football team. The Saints, they were a team with a winning record, but will they end up with a winning record because they don't have a quarterback now? And then the 49ers, well, the 49ers were a sub-500 team, but they're going to be getting everybody back from injury. So maybe they become a team that's over 500 as well. It's a daunting schedule for the Packers, no doubt about it. If they end up 13-3 again, I mean, you know, like the emailer said, it's going to be a hell of an accomplishment. Fred says, what about the NIT 16 teams announced? I really don't care. I know I should, but I just don't. You know, Duke, okay, yay, Duke's in the NIT. Who cares? I know I should care. I really do. But I'm sorry, I just don't. Not a big fan of the NIT. And I'm not rooting for Duke to win the NIT. You know? So, is what it is. More of the Bill Michaels Show coming up next.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back. So some rumors running around out there that the Jets, the Cardinals are among two of the teams as far as leaders go to possibly land the former Packers center Corey Linsley. Those rumors are running around out there. So we'll wait and see where he ends up. I don't think he's coming back for those that are kind of hoping. I mean, I would hope, but I just don't think he I just don't think that he is going to remain with the Green Bay Packers. I don't think that's in the cards right now. I think he's going to make a good chunk of change. Deservedly so. Deservedly so. I don't think he ends up in a Packers uniform again this season. Mark writes in our email inbox, and he says, what do you think of North Carolina and the matchup? Do you like it? Kind of a weird season for North Carolina. It's not a big-time talented team, but they have some bigs in the middle. They like to protect the rim. The Badgers don't do well against big bodies in the middle. Carolina will run the floor, and they rely – they're not a great three-point shooting team, but they get – because of the big bodies in the middle, they are the best offensive rebounding team in the country. But again, they don't shoot. This will be a good battle for the Badgers because the Badgers don't shoot well beyond the arc either. I mean, as a matter of fact, the Tar Heels only shoot 31%. But again, Garrison Brooks going to lead the North Carolina front court, 6'11". Day'Ron Sharp, 6'10". Armando, I don't remember what his last name is. Bucket. I just know that this is a team that likes to play big inside, and they don't shoot the ball. They shoot the three real well. It's going to be a really interesting matchup for the Badgers, who don't like to play the bigs on the inside. But North Carolina, like the Badgers, likes to get second chance opportunities. So I'm hoping they advance. But if they advance, I mean, then they got BYU waiting in the wings for them. So And with the Badgers and the way they finished 2-6 down the stretch in their last 8 games, 3 times losing to Iowa. They lost to Illinois, Michigan, Purdue. They haven't looked like the same team in a while. So we'll see. I'm hoping for the best, but I didn't pick them. When you say Bill put money on it, I didn't take the Badgers to Vegas with me. I just didn't do it. Playing a little bit smarter than that. This portion of the program brought to you by our good friends, not only at Quick Trip, the official fuel and convenience store sponsor of the Bill Michaels Sports Talk Network, but our friends at Scholze Family Beef. Weather is warming up, even though today sucks. It's gray, it's cloudy, it's windy, it's cold, and we're expecting some mushy mashed potato kind of snow, maybe some freezing rain. The weather will eventually warm back up. I think this weekend we're back into the 50s. So what you do to get ready for grilling season, guarantee your supply of farm fresh beef for the summer months by purchasing a 6 or a 12-month subscription. And during the month of March, you do it from ScholzeFamilyBeef.com. They're going to send you a free pound of ground beef in every month's subscription. That's right, a free pound of ground beef. They got breakfast meats, sausage, bacon, links, all that kind of stuff. It's also available. It's shipped from your family farm to your door. Then it's going to end up on your grill and on your family table. It's that simple. And you can watch them for events all around central Wisconsin. And if you're in the Black River Falls, Humbird area, they encourage you to stop by. They've got the farm. They got the farm store right there. And as I've said before, it's from their family farm to your family table, and it ends up right there, fresh, ready to go. It's good stuff. Check them out at Scholze, SCHOLZE, ScholzeFamilyBeef.com. That is ScholzeFamilyBeef.com. Dustin brought up a good point. He said, wait a minute, Duke's not in the NIT. Duke tested positive, and they opted out of the rest of the season. So just an FYI, Duke not in the NIT. Thank you very much for reminding me that, Duke. Or Dustin, I should say. That Duke is not in the NIT. And again, this shows you how much I care about the NIT. I don't care. I'm sorry, I should. It's sports. It's something. This time last year, I would have been salivating over it had the NCAA not played and the NIT did. But I don't care. I just don't. Let's go to Dennis. Dennis, welcome to the program, The Bill Michaels Show. What's going on, man? How you doing today?
Doing good. Thanks for taking my call.
You bet. What's up?
Well, I'm kind of upset with a lot of people. I admire Aaron Rodgers' ability, but he's got an attitude that's pretty hard for me to put up with. Last I heard, this was the Green Bay Packers, not the Aaron Rodgers Packers.
Mm-hmm.
So until he's a GM, yeah, I'll listen to him, but I'm not going to do everything that he wants. I think Gutekunst and them, we're not spending money. Hell, we're over the salary cap.
Right.
And he wants help. We've got 2 all-pro offensive linemen. One really, really good running game. Robert Tonyan I thought, had an outstanding year. And supposedly Devontae Adams is the best wide receiver in the league. You stand there on the sidelines in the championship game, come on defense. They give you 3 turnovers, and all you can muster is 1 first down. Whose fault is that?
No, I agree with that.
And Colin Cowherd, I listened to him after that. When they were in the red zone in the championship game, he said the Packers were 2 for 9 passing in the red zone in the game.
Right.
7 of those were targeted to Devontae Adams. And he was 1 for 7 and dropped 1. And like the caller said last week, they abandoned the running game and focused on Rodgers and Adams. Well, how'd that work out?
Correct.
Again, is that Gutekunst's fault? Is that the coach's fault?
Yep.
And then a couple other things I want to say, too, is the last time, 3 years ago when the Packers didn't make the playoffs, the top 4 paid quarterbacks weren't even in the playoffs, if I remember correctly.
I believe you're correct, yes.
Yeah. So if Rodgers, you got all these players redoing contracts to help the team. Come on, Aaron, step up and show you're part of the team. And if you're not, when I see the Detroit Lions trade Stafford and get what they did, hey, Aaron, You want to go live in your mansion year-round? We'll trade you for the 49ers, take a defensive lineman and a whole bunch of draft picks, and I'll take my chances with Love and Boyle. Thanks for taking my call.
All right, appreciate it, man. If you get on board, 778-16 and 877-867-1670. Yeah, you know what? It wouldn't be a terrible thing. You traded Aaron Rodgers over to San Francisco. You picked up, say, I don't know what, Nick Bosa? We'll take Bosa, right? Take Bosa in that deal. Throw in Dre Greenlaw or something like that. Throw in another draft choice or 2 or 3. And sure, they'd be happy to do that. You trade out Jimmy Garoppolo and the Packers move on. Maybe you're not going to get Kittle. But, who are you going to get? Charlie Warner? I mean, I like Robert Tonyan. And Sternberger just has not materialized the way that they had hoped he would for the draft stock you have in him. But, yeah, you want to make a deal, you make a deal. But I agree with you 100%. Forcing the ball to Davante Adams has become a thing. It's become a problem. It has shown its ugly head at times in the worst possible scenario. We saw him not run the football either into the end zone or down close to it to give him short yard down in distance when it came to the 4th down opportunity in the NFC Championship game. We saw on 3rd down completely ignore the fact that Allen Lazard was pretty much open and tried to force the ball back into Davante at that point in time. We have seen this story, and it has cost him. And it's noticeable to everybody. And there's a pass that goes there. It just is. It just has been a past Aaron Rodgers. Why are you forcing the ball to Davante Adams? And his argument is going to be because he's the best receiver on the field. But when you have others open, in other words, what you're saying is we don't trust anybody else to go up and make a play. Okay. I get it. I understand it. We've all seen something that's completely different. All right. But you're doing it at the detriment of the team. On the other hand, the old adage is you don't get there without Aaron Rodgers. You don't get there without him. So it's chicken or egg. When you get there, do you want him there? But if you don't have him, you can't get there. Going back to the fact of taking not necessarily a pay cut, but a restructure, again, it may not just be Aaron not wanting to do it. It could very well be the team not wanting to jump the gun and restructure for either more money or less money, waiting to see what the market's going to bear so they know what kind of money they need by the time it's all said and done. 877-867-1670. 877-867-1670. More on the Bill Michaels Show coming up after this.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
We're back. Glad to have you. The Bill Michaels Show. We continue on. Thanks to those of you paying attention to us on Periscope, off of Twitter, also Facebook, the Facebook fan page, and watching us over there on the live stream, The Bill Michaels Show. The Bud Light live stream also running on YouTube and on Twitch. Just simply look for Bill Michaels, Michaels. And always, we thank you for subscribing. I thank you so much. Really appreciate that. Got a lot of different emails and a lot of different stuff today. It's always good. I mean, the show just kind of runs all over the place. There's so many different things to get into and chat about. Coming off of the call prior, this one is from Eric. Says the caller had a point, Bill, forcing the ball to Davante Adams, who is well covered, and leaving Lazard wide open near the goal line, and he tried to hit Adams instead. We all see that. Okay, once is a mistake, and then we all have them. But he does that many, many times. I don't think trading him to San Francisco for some D help and picks will work, of course. But the point made, maybe Aaron Rodgers won't do squat unless his current deal goes past Love's current deal. All I know is that at least 2 Super Bowl winners and others like Ben Roethlisberger and Pittsburgh restructured to help out their teams. Aaron Rodgers has not done anything to help out his. And it's happened as well with Jordy Nelson. Going back to that, go back to some of the comments there. Jordy was another guy that, Aaron seemed to fixate on. Let's go to Jeff listening to us in Minocqua. Jeff, welcome to the program, The Bill Michaels Show. What's going on, man?
Hey, thanks for taking my call, Bill. Can you hear me, buddy?
I got you, pal. Go.
Great. Hey, I listen to sports talk shows early in the morning, filling in some time until you come on at 10. And I'll tell you, very recently, 4 of the last 5 so-called pundits have the Packers in the first round picking a tackle. One of the other guys on there, not naming names, have them taking a linebacker. I don't know about you, but to me, that's really not a surprise. However, the surprise of the day definitely was Aaron Jones re-signing and staying with the team. Mm-hmm. So one other thing I wanted to mention, Bill, is you said something earlier about an event or something maybe coming up in Tomahawk. If you could repeat that, it
Sure.
would definitely pique my interest living up 25 miles from Tomahawk.
Yeah,
So-
the Tomahawk Fall Ride, which is the motorcycle ride up there every year. It's the 40th anniversary this upcoming season. And I've been going, I don't know, maybe the last 7 to 10 years. I love it up there. I think it's beautiful, especially at that time of year when the colors are changing. But I love coming up to that area. I got a friend of mine who has a house in Lake Nokomis, so that's where I usually stay. But yeah, it's a tremendous time. And this past year, obviously the numbers were way down because of COVID, but being the 40th anniversary, and hopefully by September, middle of September, the numbers have really, really trended down in the downward direction, and therefore it's a much, much bigger ride and rally. And I'm looking forward to it. It's a great place up there.
Great. Thanks a lot, Bill. I'll stay in touch on the show, and if you come up to Tomahawk, I'll be glad to take you fishing.
Absolutely. I would love to do that. I got to get up there in the midsummer then and do that as well. So thank you so much. Appreciate it. 877-867-1670. I'd love to do that. I have not. That's the one thing I have not done up there. Usually when I go up, I just kind of relax. I'll go up on a Monday night or maybe even a Tuesday morning, or even Tuesday afternoon after I get off the air. But it was great. Up until last year, the friends of mine that had the house, they didn't even have internet. So it was basically just a place to go and get away. And the only internet you had was if your phone could actually get a signal. And now they put internet in because during COVID, they worked up there all the time. So once they started working there, then they had to put in high-speed internet. So that then meant that, if I wanted to, I could take the equipment with me and actually do the show up in Tomahawk, and which is what I did this past year. So I really enjoyed it. I could leave at any point in time. My biggest issue is when I leave, I always have to find somebody to take care of the dogs. So somebody's got to stay at my house for, whatever period of time I'm gone and hang out there. But I love it up in Tomahawk. I'd love to go up in the middle of the summertime. It's beautiful up there, but I've never had a chance to really go out and fish on any one of the lakes. Like I said, my friend's got the house right there on Lake Nokomis, and I've taken the pontoon out and kind of putzed around a little bit and jet ski a couple of times. But most of the time I'm up there riding the bike, the motorcycle, and then I take my pedal bike with me, and I go up to St. Germain, and they've got some really nice bike paths up there. So I'll usually go ride and pedal and get a workout in St. Germain and then come back and do the motorcycle thing the rest of the day. So, but I love it up there. I think it's beautiful. And like I said, there's a whole bucket list of stuff just in the state of Wisconsin that I want to do. I've yet to do Door County, and I want to do that. And people say, "Are you crazy? Why haven't you done it?" Because everybody says you got to go up in the fall. Okay. August, September, October. You got to go up then. Well, what time is that? That's Packers season. That's the busiest time for me. So it's not easy just to say, "Oh, I'm going to take a weekend and go to Door County." So that's tough. Midsummer, there's so much going on in the middle of summer, from like the second week of July all the way through the second week of September. Everything's pretty much booked, which leaves June. And now June's got golf tournaments and IndyCar and NASCAR coming in the beginning of July. And so things fill up really quick. The schedule fills up really quick. And I love doing what I do, but I do want to make some time to do some things. I want to go to Oktoberfest out in La Crosse. I want to get there for that. So there's a lot of stuff to do. A lot of great stuff to do in the state of Wisconsin. Jeff said, "Bring the dogs up. We'll take care of them." Jeff, I'd love to take my dogs with me. Elmo is like neurotic when it comes to travel. If he goes very far, I can't take him very far because when he was a puppy, unfortunately, how he was a rescue was him and his sisters were thrown off of a truck. They were in a bag. Somebody put them in a bag when they were puppies and threw them off a truck. And his sisters died, and he was the only one that survived. So he has an anxiety about riding in a car. So I can take him to a few different places that last maybe 10 minutes, but beyond that, he really starts to panic in a car. So that's the reason I don't usually have him travel with me. Let's do this. We're going to go ahead and take a quick break. We got another hour yet to go. Bottom of the hour, Pete Doherty of the Green Bay Press-Gazette is going to be here. We'll talk with him about the Packers, their moves, salary cap, all that kind of good stuff. Hang in there. More of the Bill Michaels Show coming up.
This is a Wisconsin Sports Zone update.
Well, Wisconsin is headed to the NCAA tournament for the 21st time in the last 22 tournaments. Badgers are in the number 9 seed in the South region, going to face number 8 seed North Carolina. Lafayette Arena played for Wisconsin. Guys like Brad Davison are appreciated The opportunity to play in March Madness had wiped out last year's tournament.
It's extremely special. I know personally, and for a lot of the guys in that locker room, this is what, when you're growing up and you're dreaming of playing on the college stage, you're dreaming of playing in March and playing in March Madness and dreaming of, that one shining moment video and everything that comes with playing in the NCAA tournament. And so, not having that opportunity last year has made this opportunity so much more special.
Tip on Friday night is set for 6:10. Turning the Bucks, they're going to be back in action tonight as they take on the Wizards in Washington. Milwaukee took the first game between the two on Saturday. After this, and head to Philly to face a Sixer squad that currently owns the best record in the Eastern Conference. Tip tonight is at 6 o'clock.
Hey, honey, how was your day? Well, I brought home a delicious dinner and possibly $10K. That's $10,000. That's a good day. It's Quick Trip's take-home meal sweepstakes. Try our chicken, bacon, mac and cheese, spicy chicken penny, spaghetti, and more. Buy with your rewards card, and you could win $10,000. No purchase necessary. See stores for details. Dinner, fresh from our kitchen to heat and eat in yours. But let's be honest, they had me at $10K. The take-home meal sweepstakes from Quick Trip. We got dinner covered.
Well, Aaron Jones is sticking with the Packers. The team has reportedly agreed to a 4-year, $48 million deal with the running back to keep him in Green Bay. Packers have also restructured the contracts of Preston Smith and Adrian Amos in advance of the new league year on Wednesday. They'll need to make a few more moves to get under the salary cap before that. And the Brewers back in action this afternoon as they take on the Padres out at spring training. With this Wisconsin Sports Zone Network update, I'm Zach Heil.
Welcome back. Bill Michaels Show on the air, and we are glad to have you. Thanks for joining us. As always, we certainly appreciate it. Thanks to all of you who chime in every day, whether it's the live stream or on Twitter. Always appreciate your participation as well. Wisconsin Life says, totally agree that Rodgers looks too often at Davante Adams. Here is how the Packers can fix it. LaFleur needs Adams out of the game. When this happens, it forces the issue. Yeah, but you're not going to pull Davante Adams, your best, receiver, off the field during big moments. He's just not going to do that. That's not going to happen. So it's going to be something that you're going to have to be, if you're Aaron Rodgers, you have to be aware, and you have to say, I have to look all over. I mean, Davante's come up with a lot of big plays and certainly deserves all the accolades. But when you get into a short field, it makes coverage that much easier. You don't go deep or over the top. You're going, vertically, east and west. Or not vertically, you're going horizontally, east and west. So, it makes it tough to get free. James writes, did you see the snow that's coming? It's down near Rockford right now. I did. It's kind of a big comma coming straight north from Rockford and Chicago, where it's rain right now. It looks like it's going to turn into something, maybe some flurries or something. I don't think it's going to be like they had predicted that it was going to get kind of nasty. I don't know if it's going to get nasty. We might get some rain or freezing rain. Might have what they call like slushy, that mashed potatoes accumulation. And it may get a little bit heavier later on. They're talking after 5 o'clock is when it's going to kind of really push up towards the Sheboygan and Oshkosh area. It looks like if you go to La Crosse, maybe a dusting. Dubuque over in Iowa, maybe a dusting. Madison's probably going to get some. The Dells area is going to get some. Certainly Milwaukee, Kenosha, Racine, all the way through the mid portion, Jefferson County, and as it heads north, we'll wait and see. But I don't know if it's going to be more. It'll probably be more towards the southern and southeastern portion of the state, and eastern portion by the time it's all said and done, rather than covering the western portion. But it's coming. It sucks. We have been teased with warmer weather. That's what we want. We're all craving it. Coming up here at the bottom of the hour, don't forget Pete Doherty, the Green Bay Press-Gazette, going to be joining us. We'll talk with him about all of these things. And we'll get into the discussion of salary cap and Aaron Jones and Jamal Williams and all that kind of stuff. So that's all coming up here in just a little bit. Hey, this portion of the program brought to you by our friends over there at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. High fives to everybody over there as well. Hearing from Gina Della from Pella that the Wisconsin chapter of NARI, the National Association of the Remodeling Industry, named Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin the Distributor of the Year. But there's a lot more to it than that. The International Builders Showcase just named Pella's new Easy Slide Operator the best new window and door product of 2021. You got to call them, and when you do, please say, heard about it on Bill Michaels Show. The Easy Slide Operator, yet another patented Pella innovation that eliminates the repetitive cranking motion on a lot of casement windows. So you don't have to crank on. You got, wrist injuries or problems, or, you're a little bit up there in years and you got some issues trying to get a window open. This makes it a lot easier for you and adds value to your home. There's a lot more. Speaking of value, they were rated number one for the highest value, highest quality, and highest improving home value by adding Pella Windows and Doors to your home. 5 years right now. They got it 5 years, no interest, 5 months, no first payment, and that's huge. 5 years, no interest, 5 months, no first payment. So high fives if you get it all the way around. But right now it's this deal of no payment for 5 months and 5 years no interest is only through March 31st. So you got to set up that free consultation today. Go to PellaWI.com/radio. That's PellaWI.com/radio. Or call them 855-PELLA-WI, 855-PELLA, 855-PELLA-WI. Tell them we sent you. They're really good people, and the wink and a nod, they give you a little bit more when you call them up. Say, hey, Bill Michaels sent me. And they're just, like I said, just great to work with. Andy writes, you were discussing Indiana basketball and where they are. Your thoughts on the Marquette program. Should they be making a change? Andy, it's weird you bring that up because just yesterday, myself and Kristen, we went out to dinner. And we were talking with somebody that knows what's going on, we'll say. And they're happy with Wojo. He is a tremendous recruiter for the program. They just have not put the wins on the board. But they're seemingly, anyway, happy with him. Now, whether that changes at the end of next year, we'll wait and see. But they really feel good about Wojo and where they're at. I can't imagine it with the talent that they've had and the lack of success continually that they've had, that they're happy with where they're at right now, not playing at all. I mean, Marquette's not even in the NIT. They had, when the Hausers transferred out and had some things that surfaced, at least rumor wise, I think that left a little bit of a wake. So now we'll wait and see. But no, I just, for those that, are Marquette fans, don't see them making a change, not this offseason anyway. So they have not had continued success for a while now. I guess depending on what your level of continued success means, but they haven't had tournament success. So, but they're happy with Wojo, at least as of right now. So we'll see if that, doesn't continue on. But I gotta imagine at some point, if you're not going deeper into the tournament consistently, they'll make a change. From where that program was to where it is now, that's quite the fall. So we'll see what happens. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Dwayne says, as secretive as the Green Bay Packers are with financials and et cetera, is it possible that Rodgers or the team would do something restructuring-wise and that the public not even know about it, or does that have to be disclosed? Well, they have to make it known to the Players Association as to what it is they're doing, and they have to make it known to the NFL, and those numbers are published. So, yes, it would happen. Now, if they're negotiating something right now, they don't have to make it known. No, they don't have to do any of that. They just, once it's done, and then everybody else finds out about it. But yeah, eventually they do, because they have to file that that paperwork with the Players Association and the NFL, and both entities make that public. So we'll wait and see. But I personally, I think that the Packers they're swimming below the surface right now. They're just very quiet. Nobody saw the Aaron Jones deal coming. I mean, I think a lot of us had hope that, well, he's going to free agency, but maybe he can end up back in Green Bay if he doesn't find what he wants. And then sure enough, he did. So I think the Packers are swimming below the surface. Don't count them out yet. There's a level of frustration there because, again, you're not really knowing what's going on, but the Packers have never been. God knows under Ted Thompson, I used to joke, and I still do, but they're called Red China. They don't want to tell you anything. Player wasn't on the practice field today. We don't even have that guy on our roster. No, he's right there. He's standing right there. We don't even know who you're talking about. No, he's standing right there. He's got a helmet on right next to the coach. Nope, that's a hologram, and he was brought there by the Russians, and we don't have any knowledge of any players ever playing for the franchise. What? We're not even a franchise. Please, just disregard. That's the Packers. They don't want you to know anything. But you know what the end of that press conference would be? We're not a franchise. We don't know anything about any players, no coaches. Nobody can speak. But the pro shop's open. The pro shops. Please come in and buy our jerseys. Please come in and buy a jersey of a player that might have played here. Maybe somebody that's around. But we don't know. We don't have any knowledge of that player ever playing here, playing football, even though they were wearing a helmet. But the pro shop's open, and we're gonna sell stock. You can buy stock in something, but we're not telling you what it's for or where it's at. Pay no attention. Oh man, that's the Packers. They don't want you to know anything, so they're swimming below the surface right now. Something will get done. Like I said, coming up here at the bottom of the hour, Pete Doherty, the Green Bay Press-Gazette, going to be here. We'll chat with him about all of this. Are they going all in? Jim says, I would say no, but if they got some defensive line help in free agency, then yes, but I am happy Jones is coming back. Bill writes, are you kidding? Stop it right here, right now. Stop with the Packers talk. Stop with them doing anything. We know what's going to happen. Gutekunst is going to go out and find a couple of retreads. He's going to spend as little money as possible. Rodgers is going to get a little bit of a restructure, but not nearly enough to make an impact, so that way they can still get rid of him in a couple of years. This franchise is treading water, just trying to suck in your money and suck in your interest. They don't care. Kevin says, as a Bears fan, I would love to be in the Packers fan situation, but I can clearly see that the organization is not going to do anything. They're not even being negotiated when it comes to the discussions of other big-name players on the open market. They're going to do the same old they always have. I don't know what's worse, being a Bears fan and never having any hope, or Packers fans who constantly have hope, and yet the organization lets them down. At least in Chicago, we know we suck, and we accept it, as opposed to Packers fans who always believe they're going to be the best, but can never get the brass ring. Talk about a kick to the crotch. What would be worse? I don't know. I can't take I can't take the advice of the Bears fan. You know what I mean? I just can't. I get it. You make a very, very good point. What would be worse? Continually getting to the postseason, getting to an NFC Championship game, seeing the brass ring and never catching it, or knowing you're never going to get there? And if your team does play well, maybe you're just amazed. I don't know. Call up a Cincinnati Bengals fan. They're pretty pissed off all the time. Why they fill that stadium, I have no idea. But check them out. Eight 877-867-1670. 877-867-1670. If you want to chime in, do it. We got Eric Branchek coming on tomorrow, as a matter of fact. Jeff just said, want to know what happened to Mike Clemens and Eric Branchek. Eric Branchek's going to be on with us tomorrow. Mike Clemens, he is a great friend. I talked to Mike over the weekend. Mike's doing some stuff, but maybe at some point we'll be able Mike. Who knows? We'll see. But Mike does a morning show in Kenosha on WRJN. WRJN. Mike is kind of our Mike is, they went through quite a few historians. Cliff Crystal is the official historian for the Packers, and for the longest time, Lee Remmel, the longtime PR vice president of PR for the Packers before he had passed, he was a guy that knew anything and everything about everything regarding the Packers. And then after that, I would probably put Mike right up there. I'd put Mike right up there. No doubt. 877-867-1670. 877-867-1670. Stay tuned. More of the Bill Michaels Show right up.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back. Glad to have you. About 15 minutes away, Pete Doherty of the Green Bay Press-Gazette going to be joining us just after the bottom of the hour. Stay tuned for that. Bill Michaels Show. We continue on, and if you want to get a hold of us, plenty of ways. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Also hit us up on Twitter at Bill_Michaels, at Bill_Michaels. You can find us there. In addition to that, you can also find us on Facebook, simply the Facebook fan page. Go to facebook.com/The Bill Michaels Show. That's facebook.com/The Bill Michaels Show. And you can also find us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch TV as well. Please subscribe. I am humbled and appreciative of all the people that subscribe on YouTube and on Twitch, because we have received so many subscriptions and likes over there. It is great to have everybody a part of the program. So thanks so much. Thanks so much for joining us and following us over there. I mean it. Thank all of you for paying attention to us, as always. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. If you want to chime in, feel free to go ahead and do so. Give us a call. Love to hear from you. This one's from Mark. Mark writes in the email inbox. He says, I think that Aaron Rodgers not restructuring his deal is due in part because they have not listened to him and because they drafted his replacement. I'm sure it probably pissed him off. He did play better this year with a chip on his shoulder. But how many more years do you think he plays for Green Bay? So why should he give anything back for a team that is not giving him anything? Well, that's not true. The team has given him a lot of money. A lot of money. And they've made him consistently, when he's asked for it, to be the highest paid player in the NFL. Now, the problem is that lasts, what, a week, a day, a month? Because we've seen this. He'll be the highest paid player, he'll get the most money, and then all of a sudden, within 2 weeks, an up-and-comer or another quarterback gets paid more, and he's not the highest paid guy anymore. And that's just the nature of the beast. On the day he signed, we all go, wow, what a huge deal. And then right after that, Jared Goff gets more money. Patrick Mahomes gets more money. And it just goes on from there. Well, so be it. If your need is to be the highest paid player rather than the most decorated, which you're not even going to come close to now, you're taken care of for the rest of your life. You've made over $150 million. You probably got $80 million in the bank. That's not even including endorsements. So, yeah, I get it. Maybe you want more money. Maybe you want to get to that $100 million, $200 million mark before you're done. And that way you never, and your family never, and your kids and your great-grandkids and on down the road, nobody ever has to work another day in their life. They can just sit back, relax, and enjoy. Okay, if that's what your goal is. But don't talk about winning championships, because we all know that quarterbacks that make more than 14, 15, 16% of the team's total salary, they're not winning championships. They're just not. It's too much money. You got to allocate the dollars for teams that are winning championships. Have really solid defenses and have a couple more than, say, 1 or 2 Pro Bowlers. They usually have 3 or 4, maybe 5, defensively speaking, that are on those teams. And that's what this team needs right now. You need another guy back there alongside Jair. You need a guy that can just punch you right in the snot locker, roaming the middle. You need defensive line help with Kenny Clark. And unless Brian Gutekunst hits with every draft choice in the top 4 or 5 rounds this year to fortify those positions, and there's nothing to say he can, but it's going to take him a while to get these guys up to speed. So unless he hits, you're still going to be looking for the same player. You're going to have the same holes that you had last season. I think offensively they're close to being set. Getting Devin Funchess back is kind of like getting that free agent, even though he hasn't played football in a year and a half. So we'll see. But I not that I hear Aaron Rodgers. Let me say this, because people talk about Aaron Rodgers wanting to win. Yeah, you want to win. But he's never said, oh, man, I can't deal without these players being here, and then kept the money. He's talked about, different things that the team could use, but players that they have and the way they've played and the way they practice and such. But he's never been one to consistently, openly complain they don't have enough players, because he knows He's not stupid. The first thing you do is you go out and say, well, I can't believe we didn't delve into the free agent market. We needed more players. The first thing that's going to come crashing down on him like a ton of bricks, like an avalanche in the snow out in Colorado in the middle of winter, is going to be the deluge of criticism from Packers fans. They're going to say, well, you're taking all the money. I said that a long time when he was wanting to sign that last contract. Put a checkbook on a table, say, Aaron, sign it. And whatever you leave behind is what then we can pay other players. Otherwise, you have to understand where we're at. But he wanted to be good. And maybe the Packers wanted to make him the highest paid player. I don't know. Maybe that was more the Packers than Aaron Rodgers. But when you make all the money, that's when the spotlight gets brighter. You know, because you're signed and you're locked up and, you know, you're playing well, you're winning MVPs. Yeah, you know, that's great. But when you're making all the money too, the expectation is not an NFC championship game anymore, and certainly not looking at one guy, and certainly not throwing into double and triple coverage when you have so much field to run to that you could probably sat down, ordered a burger and a beer. So, yeah, there's an anxiety there for him to be the guy, for him to be the stand-up guy and step forward and say, I want to restructure my deal. But those things usually do not happen until after the fact. And then they're going to say, Aaron and the Packers restructured his contract. That frees up such and such salary cap. Aaron's going to say, yeah, I know we needed the money. I know we needed to do some things, both offensively and defensively. We had to keep some guys. Great to have Aaron Jones back. He's been a playmaker for. I can almost write the script. But the Packers, believe me, are lurking below the surface. They're that shark right now. All you see is the little G Packer fins swimming through the water. I don't think they're going to just let it all go by the wayside. I really don't. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Let's see here. Proven vets on defense, 1 through 4 in the NFC Championship game does not cut it. Eric says, great point. The cap is well above 15%. They need defensive help. And GM Brian Gutekunst needs to hit on nearly every pick on the defense. Not in my opinion. This team has been drafting D for years and never has had a solid D since Ted Thompson's early years with 3 future GMs on his staff. Green Bay needs free agent defenders. I agree, free agent defenders. In recent history, we can say Rashawn Gary, he's really began to improve. Okay, he's really looked good. Specifically, he came into his own with about 10 games remaining in the season this year. Darnell Savage Jr., since week 10, looked really good. Those two guys are starting to come on. Kingsley Keke, he is a depth guy. He's not your starter, but he's a depth guy. Okay, that 5th-round draft choice. The linebacker Ty Summers has been really good on special teams, has not developed in, nor did you expect him to be as a 7th rounder, but has not developed into that starting smash you in the mouth linebacker. You know what I mean? Kamal Martin has looked good coming out of Minnesota. He was banged up in the beginning of the season. You hope that he takes that next level step. Chris Barnes, who they picked up as a street free agent, he has taken a nice step forward. They both displaced Christian Kirksey towards the end of the season as far as the starting role goes. So there's some defenders that they've picked up on. Certainly Jair Alexander has played extremely well and has really developed into what we consider to be almost a lockdown corner in this league. So there's some guys there that they have drafted that have played well, but you need, I think, you need a veteran corner and the rest you can get through the draft and continue to bolster your depth through the draft. But you need another guy alongside Jair Alexander. We'll talk about this and so much more. Coming up next, Green Bay Press Gazette, Pete Doherty is going to join us next on the Bill Michaels Show.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
You got to hit it, bang it, rock it, put it in the pocket. Hit it, bang it, rock it, put it in the pocket. I said, hit it, bang
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Better looking. Bill Michaels Show back on the air, and we are glad you're with us. Thanks for following us on the live stream, the Bud Light live stream over on Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, on Periscope, on Twitter as well. Thanks to Mark listening to us. We're all over the state. Up in Rice Lake, we got James in Menominee Marinette, not Menominee Falls, but Menominee Marinette, listening to us on the mighty WMAM up there. And thanks to Dave listening to us in Shawnee. We now go northward to Green Bay. Joining us on the hotline, our good buddy Pete Doherty, the Green Bay Press Gazette and PackersNews.com. Pete, how you been?
Pretty good, Bill. How about you?
Well, we're doing okay. I'm trying to make heads or tails out of the salary cap situation the Packers find themselves in. First of all, did you expect them to sign or re-sign, should I say, Aaron Jones?
You know, when they didn't, I thought they were going to tag him and at the very worst trade him. So when they didn't tag him, I started doubting whether they're going to sign him. And Tom Silverstein, one of my colleagues with Packers News, he was right. He wrote, they didn't tag him, but they've signed a lot of guys at the 11th hour, right before free agency starts over the years. Cobb, Bulaga, there's a couple more. So he said, don't rule out that they'd sign him. And he was right. And that kind of gave me pause when I saw that he wrote that. And I guess I was a little surprised, but not a huge surprise because he's a really good football player. And, it's not good business to let really good football players walk out the door.
So speaking of that, there isn't a chance that they're going to re-sign Corey Linsley, though, correct?
I don't think so. It's from what I've heard, they've had no substantial talks with him. Even though they've been in contact with his agent, they haven't had any substantial talks. And looking at their financial situation, if the pandemic stuff hadn't happened, I think there's a really good chance they would have re-signed both those guys. But I think the cap and revenue drop and all that meant that, chances are there was only going to be one of the two.
So you bring up the cap. Where are they right now, best you can figure? And then we'll take the next question after that.
I don't know the exact number that they're at. The way I've had it figured out, if they do max restructures with Rodgers and Zadarius Smith, and then they do an extension with Adams, the way I the rough number I came up with was they could probably get to where they'd be about 20 million under, somewhere around there. Some of that money would have to go to rookies and the tenders and all that. So they have maybe 15 million to work with the free agency. That's if they max out, the cap room.
Well, when do you expect, if at all, at some point, the Rodgers announcement? Because that's what everybody's really waiting for. Because at least the way I figure it, the most money to be garnered would be by restructuring Aaron Rodgers' deal.
Yeah, they can do it a lot of different ways, but I think if they go for the max, they could get like 14 million for doing that. So that's a big one. It kind of looks like they're just doing this on a as needed basis. So maybe they're saving Rodgers for last to see whether if there are guys in free agency they want to sign, and if they're ready to sign a guy, then they pull the trigger on Rodgers. So maybe it's maybe they're waiting to see that because if they don't have to do a max restructure, maybe they won't do it with him. I'm not sure it matters because if they do a max restructure and they end up with extra cap room, they just roll it over at the end of the year anyway. So I don't know why they wouldn't just do it, but it does seem like they're doing it on an as-needed basis.
If they do restructure his deal, it doesn't necessarily mean that it stops the clock on the acceleration of Jordan Love, correct?
I don't think it would. If I'm the Packers, I wouldn't have any trouble committing somehow or other to Rodgers for this year and next year. I don't know, through 22, I don't know why that'd be a problem with the way he played this year. Love sits 3 years, Rodgers sat 3 years. That's, that'd be fine. As long as he's playing at this high a level, why would you not want Rodgers out there? So no, they could do even the max restructure, wouldn't commit them to him anything beyond this year. And maybe they'll do something where they pay him a little more than his salary this year, all as a bonus, just to let him know that they are planning on him to be their quarterback in 22 also.
Well, I know he's talked about wanting to play here beyond that, and I know that they obviously drafted Jordan Love. My question is, at what point, if you're the Packers, do you just push all the chips to the middle of the table and know that you have a Hall of Fame quarterback who's coming off of an MVP season? When do you really go for it? You know what I mean? Or do you just keep saying we just have to be cognizant of the future, and if we go to Jordan Love, and because there at that point in time you're basically practicing or playing with an unproven commodity, why would you not take the chance while you have the Hall of Famer sitting in your bullpen?
Yeah, I kind of think I'm in your camp on this, where they've got Love now, so they've got their potential guy to replace Rodgers whenever they think Rodgers is done or in decline or whatever. So why not kind of go for it now? That's why I would do all the max restructures and try to, really hit on some guys. If this ends up being the buyer's market that everybody in the league seems to think it's going to be in free agency, sit out the first few days of the first week and then see if you can get some pretty decent players for uncommonly low prices. Maybe you can get several of them. They need corners. They need defensive linemen, something fierce. Wouldn't hurt to get some help on the offensive line with no Lindsley and with Bakhtiari's injury. Receiver, they could always use, some help there too. So I'd kind of start getting closer to the more of the all-in mentality this year and next year if I'm them.
Talking with Pete Doherty, the Green Bay Press Gazette and PackersNews.com. You just kind of hit on it. My priorities are, I think you have to get a veteran. If you're not bringing Kevin King back, you have to get a veteran on the corner position, because I don't think you have time to watch a guy develop over the next 2 years. And then you got to get defensive line help, maybe even depth at linebacker to help out Kamal Martin and Chris Barnes as well. I mean, to me, it's got to be defensive heavy, because if Funchess, and I don't know what Funchess is going to have in the tank, to be honest with you, if Funchess turns out to be that guy, then great. But if not, I think you're okay offensively speaking, specifically that you got one of your better receivers back, and Aaron Jones, who alongside Devontae Adams still catches the football quite well. But to me, it's got to be defensive heavy, right?
Oh, I agree completely. And, one thing that I probably didn't appreciate enough, even, when they let Casey Hayward walk however many years ago that was, you got to have corners in this league, good corners, and you got to have more than two. You got to have more than three. They get hurt. You got at least three on the field almost all the time. There's a decent amount of the time where you have four out there. The game's all about passing and stopping the pass. These quarterbacks are getting the ball out faster than ever, so you got to be able to cover. So I'm thinking they need to, at minimum, sign a guy like a cornerback equivalent of Wagner, Ricky Wagner, who's just, a $3 or $4 or $5 million guy. Maybe he starts, maybe he doesn't, but he can play in the league, and he can play for you and help you. At least one of those guys. I'm drafting a couple guys at that position, one of them high. They need cornerback something fierce. I'm just kind of guessing. If I had to bet, I'd bet that King won't be back. So, and Shannon Sullivan, I don't know if he's going to be back or not. So, they need a lot of help at corner and D-line with this new coordinator. I rewatched the Rams Packers playoff game. Mm-hmm. They played 5-man front all the time. The Rams did. So if this guy runs the same defense where you have 2 outside linebackers on the line and 3 defensive linemen, that means they're going to have 3 defensive linemen on the field most of the time. They need some help to go with Kenny Clark if they're going to play that defense.
Well, that was going to be my next question. When you talk about Joe Barry being the new defensive coordinator, what do you have a sense as to what other than playing a more of a base 3-4, or is he a guy that, much like Mike Pettin, could switch it up and be a little more versatile when need be?
So I hope I don't make this incomprehensible, but they kind of the Rams defense was kind of a hybrid of both. They play the 5-man front, which is a base front for a 3-4. But there's only 1 inside linebacker instead of 2, and they play nickel behind it. So they're playing both. They're playing the 5-man front to stop the run better, but they're playing nickel because most teams are playing 3 wides most of the time. So it's kind of a mix of both, and I don't know if that's the defensive philosophy or if that's the way the Rams did it because of where their best players were. I'm guessing it's the defensive philosophy. So I think that's what we're probably going to see here is 5 DBs and 5 guys on the line on most of the downs. So that's my guess going into the season. And the bringing back Preston Smith makes me wonder if they're going to try to play Zadarius, Preston, guys on the field together a lot, because otherwise, I don't know how you justify paying Preston Smith $8 million this year.
Right. Now, I didn't understand all of that either. I mean, even though they've restructured it a little bit still, I do like the fact that they made that more sack heavy and statistically incentive laced. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and he took a $4 million pay cut, and they created as much cap room as they would have if they had cut him. So, I'm still a little surprised they didn't cut him, but I completely understand the thinking, and they think he's more the player he was 2 years ago than he was last season. But, with Gary on the rise, they must have some kind of plan to get those three on the field together a lot. They played together some last year, but they must be planning to play those three a lot, because otherwise, that's still $8 million is still a lot of money for a guy who would just basically be a rotation player.
Offensively speaking, I know we touched on Devin Funchess, and we're talking with Pete Doherty of the Green Bay Press-Gazette and PackersNews.com. What do you think Funchess adds to this team?
I don't know. I mean, you're right, because he sat out that year, last season. What does he have left in the tank? I think he's, best case scenario, I think he's a little better version of Alan Lazard. I think that would be best case. That's kind of the guy he is, 6'4", 6'5" guy, physical. Get open, catch the, big target, catch the ball kind of guy. So, best case, I think they'd have a guy of that caliber, maybe a little better.
Before I let you go, when you're talking about a guy like Casey Hayward on the market, Peterson on the market, Richard Sherman on the market, is there a corner that you covet at this point that you feel would be a good fit into the Green Bay Packers defensively speaking?
Oh, I think any of those guys would be, but I wonder if the price is too high for any of them. And I was looking at the list. There are so many guys available, Bill. It's just, and you got to be able to scout to really differentiate these guys. So I'm guessing if I'm them, I'm finding, guys who you think aren't going to get signed the first week, who you like better than maybe some other teams do, and try to sign, one or two of those guys at kind of a bargain rate. That's probably the way I'd be looking. I'm thinking that, a guy like Peterson's just going to cost a little too much for what they can afford as far as taking a risk on an older guy. So I think I'd be a little more of a bargain shopper if I were the Packers, and try to do it with quantity rather than taking one big swing.
Pete, always great to get you on the program, pal, and we'll get you back on soon as well, okay?
Sounds good, Bill. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you. And there you go. Pete Doherty, the Green Bay Press-Gazette, PackersNews.com, joining us for a couple of minutes on the Bill Michaels Show, and a lot of good thoughts. And it's not probably what you wanted to hear, because he thinks it might not be the first day frenzy. It's probably going to be more the Packers way, where you try to look for, because it's such a buyer's market right now, you're going to try to look for some of the bargain basement bin prices. But then you have to ask yourself, if that's the case, is that really and truly going, quote, all in? And that's something to think about as well. Stay tuned. We'll finish it up and wrap things up next on the Bill Michaels Show.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket, this is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
This portion of the program, The Bill Michaels Show, brought to you by our friends at Quick Trip, the official fuel and convenience store sponsor of the Bill Michaels Sports Talk Network. Don't forget, March Madness next year. You could win a trip to the 2022 NCAA Final Four. You buy any 20 fluid ounce Coke, any 20 ounce Coke, or any Kitchen Cravings fried chicken with your Quick Rewards card, and you're automatically entered for a chance to win. You buy both of them at the same time. You get 10 extra bonus entries. How about that? No purchase necessary. You can see the store for details. Stop into Quick Trip. Use that Quick Rewards card today. Quick Trip is a huge part of our culture, basically, here in the state of Wisconsin, the upper Midwest, as they continue to grow. Minnesota, Iowa, even northern Illinois. So good stuff there from our friends at Quick Trip. Pete Doherty, the Green Bay Press Gazette, really, really good stuff. And I appreciate all of his insight. Let's go to Rox listening to us in La Crosse. Rox, how you doing, man?
Good, Bill. Like that Motley Crue intro with Wildside.
Excellent.
To come into. Calling little prediction for the NCAA tournament this year. You know, Bill, I was thinking back to 2017, Wisconsin Badger Hoops, and you were talking earlier before the interview about franchises and teams that have just been, winning consistently.
Yeah.
But then you get to the big games and you're disappointed. And no better team is kind of on that same realm as the Wisconsin Badgers Hoops team. 2017, we beat number 1 Villanova as an 8 seed. Go on the next round in a heartbreaking loss, buzzer beater 3 to Florida. So this year, we're going to beat UNC round 1, maybe by 5 points. We're going to be thankful to be second round. Second round, we're going to beat Baylor by about 10. Okay. And we're going to be riding high. All Wisconsin sports are going to be loving it. And then Sweet 16, we're going to lose to Purdue by about 15 points.
So you got Purdue beating Villanova then?
No, because we're I believe because Villanova. Yeah.
Get
Purdue
there.
beating Villanova. Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I'm going to have Purdue beating Nova. And then I'm going to have us losing to Purdue in a Big Ten, Big Ten matchup, thinking that, we can beat a Big Ten team, and no, it's going to be another heartbreaker.
Another punch to the grill. Okay. I like the way you think, though, because that's actually like kind of the Badgers. We'll say the Badgers getting to the finals. If they would knock off Baylor, that would be a huge, huge win, and that would get a lot of the Barkers off of Greg Gard's back, too.
Absolutely. Well, here's the thing, is that every time we played Iowa this year, either at halftime we've been up or at least just in the game. So with the veteran leadership of Potter and Trice, 24-year-olds, it's not that we can't beat these good teams. We have the ability, we have the players, but, so that's why I wouldn't be surprised. I think we can beat Baylor. I definitely have the confidence in us, but, knowing how the heartbreaking goes in Sweet 16, oh boy, I don't know.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. I appreciate the phone call, and I'm gonna cross my fingers and hope for the best when it comes to your prediction. Although if they get that far and they do beat Baylor, I certainly hope that they can continue to win. But between Trice and Potter and Davison, they made just 32.7% of their 3-point attempts in league play this year. The Badgers are what they consider to be. The words were in ESPN's breakdown of the brackets was, the Badgers are a beautiful mystery. Where did we get that? That was an Aaron Rodgers saying, right? They're a beautiful mystery. And they are. They are. Wisconsin didn't look the same as the same team that beat, Loyola Chicago and Louisville and Maryland prior to the slide. So as they say, who are the Badgers? They have the lowest turnover rate in America, and they're led by seniors in Trice and Potter and Davison, but they don't shoot well. It seems like big moments get to them for whatever reason. And we've watched solid play in the first half of ball games just evaporate when the pressure's on. And that shouldn't happen with a veteran-laden team. So I'm crossing my fingers that your prediction becomes right to a point, but yet if they get past Baylor, they just continue on. That would be wonderful. Wonderful if you're a Badger fan. Live to see the second weekend and let the chips fall where they may. That'd be nice. Looking forward to it. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. If you want to chime in, do so. By the way, I retweeted this in case you have not seen it, but the Brewers posting a nice video, and you know what the video is? It's the tarp being pulled up at Miller Park as they expose that beautiful green, lush grass that's been growing. And so now when you drive, I should say Miller Park, American Family Field. So now when they take that tarp up, that big silver-looking tarp that they have, when they take that tarp up and that green grass is under there, and you know what you're going to do now? When you drive past Miller Park, you know what you're going to see at night is the glow, that ominous glow coming out of the dome that is American Family Field now. You're going to see that, and that's those growing lights, the same things that they have at Lambeau Field. So there you go. Nathan, real quick. Nathan writes, do you think that Lorenzo Cain is a starter come opening day? Excited to see him back in the field. I'm hoping that he's at least able to play opening day. Whether he's a starter or not, I don't care. But I hope that he's back. Word came down today that Craig Counsell said that chances are Lorenzo Cain probably not going to be playing in any participatory games in spring training, at least until the weekend. And then you only have about a week really to kind of get it all together. So once they do, we'll wait and see if he's actually in the lineup or if he's part of the roster come opening day, or they got to sit him for a little while. We'll wait and see. But yeah, you regardless of whether he starts or not, you want him there because that'll give you depth. I mean, you've got Bradley Jr., you've got Yelich. I mean, you've got a really solid Gold Glove style of outfield with left-right options. So you want him there, regardless if he starts or not. You want him there. I can't believe today's done. It's moved along that quick. So we're going to be back at it again tomorrow. Looking forward to it. I'm off to Road America. Some meetings up there again this week. But, man, oh, man, I'm getting anxious to make the announcement later this week about our motorcycle ride for charity for the Fisher House, Wisconsin, coming up the weekend of Labor Day weekend. So stay tuned for that this week as well. Time for us to go. Have a go.